Okay, very good. Welcome, folks, to the Red Hook Town Board meeting of Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. Would you be kind enough to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And for the folks at home, Suzanne, if you'd be kind enough to pan to the big screen, we can let them know what we'll be discussing tonight. It's the first meeting of the month, so we do a snapshot of the finances as we always do. That's the supervisor's report. We also have the monthly clerk's report. We've got only one or two announcements this evening, and then we'll take 15 minutes of public comments. And then we'll move right into our agenda. And our agenda, we have with us our town engineer and her firm who have been working diligently to prepare grants. If you've been following along for the last several meetings, we've been discussing many of these grant programs, and we've hopefully have settled on or are settling on which grants we're going to apply for. And so we'll be discussing resolutions to approve those grant applications. They include a new combined village-town IMG grant for sewer expansion for the village and town TND sewer district. We will consider possibly applying for this one-time New York Kicks program, which has to do with FIFA and Soccer Mania. So it's a program that New York State has geared towards promoting soccer in New York State. We are going to consider an application to State Parks Department for that pedestrian trail bridge. If you remember either the mailing that came out of my office or other meetings, we are going to connect Rec Park with the Cookingham Trail on the west side of that property. And so we received a grant 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, from Greenway to do preliminary design, and that is underway. And so now we'll be looking for some money for construction of that bridge as well. As a follow-up, because we will next year be doing implementation of the update for the comprehensive plan, we are going to apply to the same department for some more smart growth planning monies, this time for implementation. And then we're going to look at the water quality improvement program as it relates to a couple of culverts off of Willits. We received a grant quite a few years ago, right, Brandy? And that was for design of those culvert replacements. These are large culverts that we're discussing here. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Aspinwall Bridge. As you know, at the last meeting, we rejected the bids that came in. We want to perhaps discuss whether or not we want to have some alternate as it relates to the bridge facing and any other alternate that may be appropriate. A little bit of background from our attorney on the county shared services agreement. We have one item for reorg, which is appointing somebody as a permanent member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And then we are going to go into executive session and discuss hiring counsel, outside counsel for some matters. And then we'll be back out to take some action with that. We've got some correspondence as well.
Robert, being that the room is full, I'd like to request, as I wrote to you in an email today, that items 5 and 6 be moved to the beginning of the agenda, because I anticipate that that's what everybody is here for.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do realize you made a last-minute request to add something to the agenda, which is acquisition of waterfront parklands. As you know, with open meetings law, we cannot same day add something that is going to be discussed or decided upon.
We rearrange the agenda all the time, so I think being that the room is full, it would be more efficient and peaceful if we moved 5 and 6 at the beginning.
Yeah, we need to go into executive session related to at least item number 6, and we have our consultant here, and we're going to work through the business that was in the published agenda, which relates to grants, and that is timely.
Is our attorney not available?
Christina, we're going to stick with the agenda as published to the public. Okay. So let's go to the items on the agenda. We have the supervisor's report. We started this month with an opening balance of $11,683,363. We had receipts of $1.4 million and change, disbursements of $1.5 million and change, for a closing balance of $11,548,000 and change. You have also the budget adjustments as prepared by our bookkeeper. I will draw your attention to buildings and grounds. There was an increase for appropriation because we had a leak in the roof, so we replaced the roof over on that L shape of Town Hall. And the other adjustments are rather minor. You have your variance report as you do each month. I will note it looks like sales tax is tracking nicely as budgeted. Mortgage tax is looking good as well. We also have quite a bit of community preservation money coming in. I think it was $80,000-ish for just the month of June alone. And so the revenue side seems to be doing quite well. Any questions about the supervisor's report? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to accept it? Okay, thank you, William. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. Any further discussion? All right, if not, all in favor? Kenny?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Thank you. Deanna, would you be kind enough to read the town clerk's report, please?
Town clerk's report for the period June 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026. Total local shares remitted, $88,652.48. Amount paid to New York State Agriculture and Markets for the Spay-Neuter Program, $26. Amount paid to New York State Department of Health for marriage licenses, $157.50. Amount paid to New York State Environmental Conservation for hunting and fishing license, $564.02. Total state, county, and local revenues, $9,400. And I hereby certify that vouchers numbered 34999 to 35126 processed in the month of June 2026 are an accurate reporting of the abstracts approved for payment by the town board.
Thank you very much, Deanna. Is there a motion to accept the clerk's report?
So moved.
Thank you, Jacob. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Kenny?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob? And Bill. Thank you. Announcements. We just want to once again remind you we have this wonderful opportunity this year that folks in town have, the Oriole Mills Pool. It's the Camp Rising Sun property. They approached us a couple of months ago and said that Camp Ramapo, who was scheduled to rent the property, was not doing so this year, and would we like to rent the pool? And so it's been open since late June, and it's becoming a big hit. People love it. I would love for you to go there and experience it. Not only do you have an opportunity to swim, but there are picnic tables if you'd like to have a picnic there. The trail is also open. That will give you an opportunity to experience that project. As if you've been following previous meetings, that is a preservation trail project that we are doing with Winnicke Land Trust that hasn't closed yet, but we think it will in the next couple of months, and so we will have public access easement on that property as well as a conservation easement. Here's the current schedule. We have blocks of time, and if you're wanting to know, the busiest time is the 3:30 to 5:30 open swim time. All other times seem to be a little less crowded, and it's really been a lovely experience, and we thank Camp Rising Sun for making that offer available to the town. And we have a little directions map because not everybody knows where it is. It's on a quiet little road, and it's a lovely little spot where the pool sits down below where you can't see it. The only other announcement I will have is because it's the 250th, we've been doing some history events. We had a wonderful event, perhaps you heard me talk about it, at the Red Church back a few weeks ago. For folks of you who are interested, the Red Church was the only church in Dutchess County here at the time of the Revolution. The only church, and so it was a wonderful opportunity to open it up. We, the town, own and are responsible for the Red Church property and for the cemetery as well. It was technically abandoned, which is a nice way of saying that the lovely people who maintained it so well for over a century, by the way, came to us and said they were not able to continue to do so. So the town maintains that property, and that's a wonderful bit of history, but I wanted to share with you for 1 second, then we'll get to the agenda. If I can do this properly, let's see if I can. Well, I may have lost it. Sadly, let's see. Here we go. You've heard me talk about, and others talk about, Kenny as well, talk about the gas station on the corner, the old Red Hook Hotel, and just a little tidbit of background for those of you. The hotel was built in 1799 by Cornelius Elmendorf, and of course you've all heard that name because it's the name that is synonymous with the Elmendorf Inn. In 1813 it was owned by Henry Walter, and it was the site of the very first Red Hook Town Board meeting. In fact, they had the meetings there in 1813, they had the meetings in 1814, and in 1815 they moved over to the Elmendorf Inn. And I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but in 1817, and I see a lot of farmers and 4-H people in the audience, in 1817 the Elmendorf Inn was the site of the very first combined Dutchess and Columbia County fairs, agricultural fairs. And that's what I have for announcements. We are going to take our public comments, and again, folks, as a reminder, we'll take 15 minutes of comments. As rules established prior to any of us being here, 3 minutes for each speaker, so that basically means 5 speakers if you're doing comments. So who would like to make some public comments? If you'd be kind enough to just come up and state your name for the record, that's all you need to do.
Roxanne Fisher, Barrytown.
Thank you, Roxanne.
It is entirely fitting that we gather on July 14th, Bastille Day, a historic day French citizens stood up together to dismantle absolute rule and government secrecy. The message was simple: the people rule, not kings. Tonight, we are delivering that exact message. If you've driven around town lately, you've seen the bumper stickers, "No Kings in Red Hook." For nearly 2 years, this administration has hidden behind executive sessions to avoid public scrutiny. But the wall of secrecy is finally cracking. We know now from FOIL requests that over $300,000 in legal expenses have been spent. We watched Justice Rosa hand this town its second major court defeat. we have a pending lawsuit by former town attorney Al Treza over unauthorized use of outside counsel by the supervisor. And we heard from Councilwoman Ducharme's courageous admission calling out decisions made in executive sessions without any cohesive plan. We don't have to look further than page 111 of tonight's meeting packet for the proof. Tonight, you are being asked to pass a resolution retroactively authorizing thousands of dollars spent on outside lawyers. This is a retroactive confession. If these attorneys were hired legally and with proper public votes, you would need a retroactive resolution tonight to cover the supervisor's tracks. But by placing this resolution on tonight's agenda, you have handed us the key. You have officially opened the door to discuss the Red Hook Boat Club. You can no longer claim this topic is off limits. If this board tries to limit tonight's discussion to simply rubber stamp legal bills, we expect councilpersons, Christina and Kent, to use their procedural power to introduce a new agenda item and force a public vote to rescind the eminent domain authorization entirely. Look around you at these paddles. We are your neighbors, your taxpayers, and your voters. We demand this board vote to rescind the overreach tonight. Stop wasting our tax dollars and bring Red Hook's government back into the light. No kings in Red Hook.
Thank you, Roxanne.
Curtis Stoltz from Wappinger Falls, the Grand Lodge of New York, Grand Lodge of Illinois, Grand Lodge of Indiana, Grand Lodge of Florida. What I've discovered, my family has had big investments with Chevron Corporation, and as of right now, the town clerk and the board of Red Hook town of Red Hook will be hearing from the Chevron Corporation. And what I have discovered so far, that they did some kind of agreement back in 1948, whatever it was that took it over, and they cleaned up the property on the surface. Well, in my experience in associate geologist and in the Illinois Basin of oil wells, you can't go in there and take a property that's still owned by Chevron now as of 2025. So what the problem is here with the eminent domain, you can't take something that doesn't belong to anyone except for Chevron. So as it is, as Red Hook Boat Club is a custodial, they're actually employees of Chevron. It was given back in the day, they were given the permission to take over, basically clean up the property, put fill dirt over top of the existing soils that not been evacuated properly under the EPA laws. So there's really not anybody here that owns that property other than Chevron. They took over Hess, they own Texaco, and I'm just saying, I think you're going to be in a world of corporations here wanting to find out what's going on here. So that's, I'm with the Hudson River Boat and Yacht Club Association as the executive board director. I'm affiliated with the United Inter Yacht Club Association, that's Brooklyn and Jamaica Bay, and I'm also friends with the Mohawk Hudson Council of Yacht Clubs. So I drove all the way up here so I can pass this information to the board. So, this is where it stands. I come from a long family of oil wells and oil production, and even my dad was a million-mile safety driver for Texaco. So I've been in the Texaco business. I've been in the petroleum industry in southern Illinois. I run equipment. I run everything you can think of, name of. But like I said, I'm a sailor, and I was also a flamethrower with the USS Nimitz. I didn't get to go down to the celebration, see the old girl again, but I'm good. I'll see it in about 2 years when they decommission it in Norfolk. And that's all I have to say. So,
Thank you, Curtis.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Linda, so we'll take 3 more speakers. I think we'll have enough time for that.
Robert, where does it say that in the bylaws? There's no limits to speakers.
No.
Christina, thank you.
But yeah, why don't we just talk and not waste time talking about talking? My name's Linda Cassidy, 211 Barrytown Road, Barrytown. The way that I am looking at this right now, tonight's an integrity test, especially for you, Mr. Testa, and you, Mr. Hamel. Tonight, you'll decide, and it will be a public decision eventually, whether you do it in executive session or not, to sign your names to overtly dishonest and unethical conduct, or to finally stand up for truth and accountability in our local government. Tonight's packet, as you know, includes a resolution retroactively authorizing, great phrase, right? What does that mean? The retention of 2 law firms, one at $370 per hour, $370 per hour, and one at $225 per hour. So obviously, this is a panicked response to the lawsuit recently filed by Mr. Trezza, which asserts that the town board, you, knowingly violated New York's open meeting laws. The resolution, so besides all that, raises a very troubling question. Why was that outside counsel suddenly needed? The town already employs attorneys, many attorneys. If the town attorney, the official town attorney, can't represent the board in this matter because of a conflict of interest, well then that needs to be publicly announced. It's our money. This is our town and our government. You are the stewards, not the owners. What makes this especially difficult to defend is the pattern. And so now we have seen this publicly, and you, men, have seen this publicly. So there's no place to hide anymore. We all know now what is happening. We don't know what has been happening before this point, which may be much in the same vein, but we know now what is happening. The board has spent who knows how much now, well over $300,000 to take the vote by eminent domain before doing any of the homework, including obviously a true seeker, a true environmental report. And now, if you vote yes to this resolution, the board is once again saying to the town, we are not concerned with the fact that we're wasting your money on legal fees meant to protect us because we behaved badly. So I think we need to reject that. I think the town does reject that. And the more this comes out to the town in general, this is all just bubbling up to the surface now. The truth has a way of coming out. The more the truth comes out, the more you two gentlemen are complicit. Because you're the only ones who know the truth, besides Mr. McKean in this room, whether or not these things that are included in the resolution, this retroactive authorizing, was something that had been agreed on. You're the only ones who know that. Now, our records suggest otherwise. So, when this meeting is over, your public, your constituents, won't remember all the procedural motions, the legal invoices, the numbers of the bills, but we are going to remember who chose truth and accountability and who chose political expediency. So Councilman Testa, Councilman Hamel, tonight your votes answer a simple question. When your integrity was put on the line, where did you stand?
Thank you, Linda. We're going to take 2 more speakers for a 5-minute period. We're going to take 2 more speakers for a 5-minute period.
Robert, where do you
Lisa.
have the authority to say the number of speakers? The room is packed. I mean, I'd like to hear from everyone.
There are
who wants to
rules
speak
of
tonight.
order, and the rules of order call for a 15-minute period. Lisa, you'd be kind enough to...
I don't.
There have been various news articles regarding the second court ruling by Judge Rosa, Councilmember Ducharme's statement opposing eminent domain, and the lawsuit filed by Mr. Trezza. Collectively, there were 346 comments, 229 shares, and over 1,500 reactions. The comments underscore widespread opposition to eminent domain and deep dissatisfaction with 3 of you. Only 2 commenters supported the town. Here's a few of the comments. McKeon and the board members should reimburse the town. We should seriously consider impeachment. Stop wasting our money. Put it to rest. Thank goodness for new board members. Supervisor McKeon was so determined to seize private property that he repeatedly ignored the legal guardrails designed to protect taxpayers and property owners. Recall the supervisor. Transparency has been out the window for his term. May their reign end ASAP. Thank you, Christina. You speak for most of us. Keep speaking up, Christina. We need help here. Enough already. Leave it to a brilliant woman to speak truth to power. This whole fiasco is beyond ridiculous. And go get him, Mr. Trezza. Thank you, Al. Such a waste of our money. The legions of supporters on which Robert and Jacob based their votes never materialized, even in a forum where they can remain anonymous. If support ever did exist, it has evaporated. Adding insult to injury, tonight's packet contains a resolution in direct response to Mr. Trezza's lawsuit to retroactively approve engaging counsel and related expenditures. Read carefully, it's an admission that proper procedures and approvals were not followed, and the supervisor acted unilaterally to authorize legal actions and use of town funds. The resolution is crafted to shield the supervisor from personal liability, so he would realize a benefit from its adoption. Robert McKeon has a clear conflict of interest. As such, he must recuse himself and leave the meeting during the discussion of and voting on the resolution. And any board member who does vote to approve this resolution effectively condones his unauthorized actions and is complicit in their commission. And Bill and Jacob, if there's any question about where the supervisor has led you over the last almost 2 years, here's the rock, here's the hard place, and you are here.
Thank you, Lisa. We're gonna take just one more. Is it gonna be you, Al? Folks, we are just taking one more. Is it gonna be you, Al? Albert?
Robert, I'd like
Christina,
to continue
please
hearing
don't.
from people until you can
This is not a
demonstrate
hearing,
where
Christina.
you have authority to say
Rules of
where the-
order of the town of Red
Show
Hook
the
call for
rules of
15
order on the
minutes.
screen and let's look at them.
Want to see the rules?
Albert, you're gonna be our last speaker for public comment.
Robert, do you have the authority to make that decision?
Yes, I run the meeting.
Well, then-
All town
well, then-
supervisors
well,
run
then
the
put it up on the
meeting.
screen so we can see
Let's
it.
keep talking,
Christina.
everyone.
Albert, would you be kind enough to take your 3 minutes? Then we're gonna move to our agenda. Thank you, sir.
We're not.
Yes, we are.
Albert Trezza, 77 West Curtis Corners Road, Tivoli, New York. You know, I'm thinking, I'd like to draw the board's attention to Sir Walter Scott, a poet and writer. He wrote a little very cogent 2-line poem, which applies to your resolution number 6, or the resolution regarding the attorneys. Oh, what a tangle web we weave when we practice to deceive. You know, we've been gaslighted, we've been BS'd, we've been stonewalled, we've asked for this information in public meetings, Roxanne and Lisa have written several foils only to be told that it does not exist. Now, you're passing this resolution, quite frankly. Not only do I think Robert does not have the right to vote, and neither do you, Jacob, nor do you, Bill, because mentioned in this whereas is some meeting on December 9th, at which you were all present and held an executive session, and said nothing about what the executive session was about. Now claiming that it has something to do with the hiring of these attorneys. Well, you don't go asking for a non-pro-tunc resolution, which means from the very beginning, if you did something at the beginning. First of all, on December the 9th, the section Article 78, in which Hodgkin and Ruskin here, didn't occur until it was filed in January 21st, 2026. How could you discuss his authorization to appear in this case? What is going on here, John? It's quite, I don't want to discuss the merits of the lawsuit. We'll get to that in the examinations before trial of all of you. And now I'm gonna have to include Christina Kane and Ms. Solomon in this matter because they were there present at that meeting. So what I'm saying now, you spent $300,000. What have you got to show for it? You squandered it. You've got 2 losses before Judge Rosa, and you just, by Judge Rosa's decision, to my estimation, have strengthened the boat club's claim against the eminent domain action. You failed to do proper seeker, and that's an essential element. Look, quite frankly, you've done this town a great service. With these 2 losses, you make the town look very foolish. You made yourselves look very foolish. For the last 10 years you've been on this board, you still don't know how to pass a local law. Not once, but twice. Okay? You're making all of us look foolish for having voted you to represent us on this town.
Thank you
Quite
very
frankly, I think you ought to stop this nonsense. And very frankly, I think you ought to table this motion, Robert. and
Thank
get
you.
legal counsel.
Thank you,
That's all
Albert.
have to
I
say.
appreciate it. Folks, that concludes our public comments. We're going to move to the agenda items. Richie, I'm sorry, we're going to move to the
Robert,
agenda
can we pull-
items.
Can we pull Chris on the line, because I don't think you have the authority to make that.
We are going to move to the agenda. Chris is online. Chris is online.
For
Brandy,
everyone here tonight and watching at home, I'd like to
Brandy,
break
we
this
need to
down
get
for you
started
on
with
numbers.
our stuff.
Robert,
Sorry with our
Surprise
agenda
you.
items.
So here we go.
Richie, I'm sorry, but we've concluded public comments.
The number of months since
Brandy,
the
we need to get on
supervisor
with
announced
our
the town's intent
agenda
to
items.
take the Red Boat Club by eminent domain, he likely assumed that he could fast track the action with little pushback.
Folks, I'm sorry, but we have our consultant here.
The percent of residents opposing eminent domain during the public hearing period.
Richie, could I ask you to please give the
1,260.
microphone to our
The number of
consultant? Thank
signatures
you.
on paper petitions opposing the eminent domain action. $300,000, the amount that we know about spent to date on planning and legal fees related to zoning laws and the boat club acquisition.
Randy, I think we're gonna need to
3,
get
the
started.
number of law firms currently on retainer by the town. 4, the number of written proposals presented to the
Travis,
town by the boat
I'm
club
sorry, but I'm gonna
giving
have
public
to ask
access
you.
while allowing the boat club to
Mr.
retain
Ross,
ownership.
Mr. Ross, I'm
Rejected
sorry.
by the
Let him
supervisor.
speak.
I'm sorry,
Perhaps
we've
you
had
can
our
share that
public
with the other
comments.
board
There have been
members.
plenty of opportunities for
Hold on,
everybody to
Richie,
speak
hold
on
one
this
second.
topic.
So, hold
This is
hold
a
up.
public
Robert,
comment
Robert,
period has
Robert.
concluded. Christina, please don't interrupt. I'm sorry, please don't interrupt. We have our consultant here. We are moving to the agenda.
Robert, you're not
Christina,
listening. Robert,
you're
please
right,
get
I'm not
Chris on the
listening.
line and explain.
Chris is on the
Chris has
line.
not spoken yet, she's not here because she lives in the Midwest, but have her explain.
I'm sorry, but I will tell you the rules of order call for 15-minute comment.
You're gonna let us speak.
And that's why it's on the
Chris?
agenda.
Chris, where's Chris?
Brandy,
Chris, I have a question.
let's get started, please.
No,
Thank you.
I will-
Richie, I'm sorry.
Listen, I will personally pay for Brandy's time until we hear everybody in this.
Christina, you do not run the meeting. There's an opportunity for you to do so. Brandy, let's get started with the agenda items, please. Thank you.
Chris, I have a question
Yes,
for our
you're-
council.
You're right, you haven't heard from Chris. I've told you the rules of orders adopted before our time calls for a 15-minute public
You break the
comment.
rules, because you moved public comment till the end, and then
Folks,
you moved them back, so you can clearly change
folks,
the rules.
Robert.
Brandy, we need to get on with our agenda
No, Robert,
items.
Robert,
Christina,
you
I'm
have
gonna
not-
ask you not to interrupt again,
I'm a board
please.
member,
Thank you.
Robert. I can
You are.
absolutely interrupt if you
I've
haven't answered
answered
my
your,
question.
I've answered your question.
You have not answered my question.
I've
Where-
answered
where
your
are the
question.
rules
There are the
that
rules of
give
order.
you the authority to cut off public comment?
Brandy, can we begin,
No, we're
please?
not gonna
Thank you.
begin. Where are the rules that
Christina?
give you the authority to cut off public comment?
Christina.
Speak about the grant application.
Thank you.
If you
Thank
would
you.
consider the resolutions, we have a time limit on the
Thank you, Brandy.
schedule.
Understood, and we also talked, we have a meeting in 8 days, and we also talked about a special meeting right after that, so the grants are absolutely a priority, but I also think hearing from the public is a priority.
Thank you, Christina. We have heard from members of the public for a year now, in addition to the action.
Let her speak. If you don't let us
Folks,
speak,
I'm
we're gonna
sorry.
keep
Brandy,
going
can we
forward.
begin? Thank you.
No.
Robert, you haven't answered the
Christina,
question.
I have answered your
No,
question.
you have not answered the question.
Brandy, can we begin? Thank you.
No.
So the
No,
first
no,
project we are
absolutely
working
not.
about,
Robert, you haven't answered the question.
Christina, I'm
You're
sorry,
sitting in the room and you're not answering the question.
I've
Where-
answered the question.
You have not. Pull it up.
There's a
Where is Chris?
15-minute,
No.
Can you-
No.
Where is Chris?
Brandy, may we
Robert,
begin,
where is
please?
Chris?
I'm the door of business.
Robert.
May we begin,
Robert,
please?
Robert, where is
Thank you.
Chris?
Chris isn't here. I have a serious question. Who do you work for?
Brandy, may we begin with the first grant, which is the combined EFC IMG. Folks, I'm not gonna ask you to interrupt anymore, please. Thank you.
Robert, do we need,
Christina?
we need to take a break and go into executive session to discuss for 5 minutes because you're not answering my question. Where is Chris?
Chris is online. Chris is here. We're gonna turn the audio up so she can hear. Chris, can you confirm for Christina that there's a 15-minute public comment period in the rules of order, the town of Red Hook?
So, Christina, I'm looking at the rules of order that were approved in 2010, and the order of business for the second Tuesday meeting is for the regular meeting is call to order, roll call, supervisor's report, town clerk report, and public comment period 15 minutes. Then resolutions and motions, old business, new business, communications, and adjournment.
Thank you, Chris.
So Chris, can you?
I appreciate that.
so
I
can you-
appreciate that. We're not having an attorney-client session.
I have a question.
Okay.
The supervisor provides an agenda to the board of the
Let
town
us
clerk.
speak. Okay, Robert. Let us speak.
Brandy, can
Hey,
we
Chris?
begin our agenda item? Christina, we have our consultant here. We are
Well,
going to
I'm new to
respect.
this, so I have some questions.
Well, then you
so-
can pose your questions at another time.
No.
Folks, I'm sorry, but somebody is charged with running the meetings, and that is my responsibility. This is the published agenda, and we are going to stick with it. Brandy, let's begin with EFC.
Have the rules,
Let's
the
begin
town rules
with
of
EFC.
procedure been requested? And Chris, can you,
Christina, I'm gonna ask you not to interrupt.
I am
Not
publicly
interrupt.
elected, so I
We
absolutely.
have our,
Robert, you do
It's
not have any
rude-
authority
it's rude to
more
the
than I
tense.
do other than fiscal responsibility.
I'm sorry, that is not true. I run the meetings. The town supervisor is charged
Then
with the
pull up the
responsibility
rules
of
of
running the
procedure on
meeting.
the screen and let's look
I
at
have-
it so we can
You
understand
have
it,
asked for
Robert.
confirmation, you got your confirmation. Brandy,
Hear from
let's
us. We're
begin
not
with the
done.
grant, please. Thank you. We're now
Chris.
talking about the IMG infrastructure grant. Brandy, if you
Um,
can kind enough.
I have a question for
Christina,
Chris.
I'm gonna ask you to please not interrupt Brandy.
Robert,
Thank
why
you.
can't she ask
Very
the
good.
question? Insane.
She asked her question, she got an answer.
Oh, I have, no, I
She's
did not get an
gonna
answer.
stand here
You
and
told me
have
that
lots of
Tuesdays are different than Wednesdays?
No.
So the second meeting has
Let's
different
go.
public comment period than the first? Is that true? Chris.
Christina, the second meeting also has a 15-minute public comment period in the rules of order. And the presiding officer can modify the order of business, or the board can modify the order on motion. Otherwise, you're following the
I'll make
agenda
a
as
motion
it's
to modify.
published.
I'd like to make a
I
motion.
will just,
I would like to make a motion and I will need a second to extend the public comment period to hear everyone in this room.
I'll second that. For how long?
For,
Until we hear everyone that wants to speak.
That's right.
folks, this is not a public hearing on the matter.
I would
Billy
entertain, I would
Billy
entertain,
Boy.
hey, quiet.
It's not a public
Billy
hearing.
Boy.
Not a public hearing. Not a public hearing, folks.
I will entertain adding additional speakers, but I want a time limit. And if you make a motion, say 10 more minutes.
You got 5 of us, Bill.
Folks, we have our consultant here.
We've been halfway through, guys.
guys would just stop and let them talk.
I
I was in a gym auditorium in which almost 500 people spoke for hours and hours.
Christina, I don't think it was 500 people speaking.
73 or 76 people.
500 people
If
attended.
you want to be honest to the public, be honest to the public.
Yes.
Talk about being honest.
Yeah. Don't exaggerate.
New York plates on your car.
Just be on facts, okay?
Fair. So we had almost 500 attendees.
Sure.
And the speakers went on for almost, what would you say, Jacob, 4 hours?
4 hours. We heard
4
everybody.
hours. We heard
Yeah,
everybody.
it was a
So-
public hearing on the matter, folks. We've had our public hearing and our decision on this matter was
And we're not in a gym auditorium, but the room
We
is
are,
packed.
it was a year ago. Everybody's had an opportunity to both in writing or to speak. It is not gonna be every, I'm sorry.
Robert, the motion stands as I stated that I would like to hear from everybody in the room,
Okay.
and Kenny has seconded. So
Okay.
if there's any discussion on the matter before a vote.
I think
There was.
I've made my contribution, which is that everybody has had a chance to talk.
Obviously not.
And you are welcome to put things in writing. We have business that we need to conduct.
We do have
That we are
business.
responsible
We do have
for doing
business.
that for the people.
Vote on
Okay?
the motion.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second on the floor. I have expressed myself and, Jacob?
I mean, I'm open to hearing from more people, but I think it would be good
thank you.
to. Yeah, but I think it'd be good. I don't need the applause. I don't need the justification, everything. Like, I don't need you to pat me on the head for doing the right thing. What I'm saying is, I think that we have business that we want to address for things that we've had on the agenda, things we need to get to, things that are timely. I would like to be able to get to that. I think it's important to do the work that we told the public that we're going to do. I would like to have some limit. If there's a line of people up, let's cap it at that. People that are ready to speak now, and move on.
So would you like to make your motion for 10 extra minutes or 15 extra minutes?
For 5 more speakers.
5 more speakers, that's 15 extra minutes, it's 8:12.
No, it's not a negotiation.
It's 8:12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
There's
7.
more than 5 people in line,
He said to
Robert.
the end of the line.
Let's go, let's do it, let's start.
We have the people that are up.
Folks, there's a motion to continue, I think, a motion to continue the public hearing
Can
and
everybody
modify.
stand that would like to speak?
We are.
That modifies.
Okay.
So we see the end of the line there.
Another 15 minutes.
Quit
That's what I'm
wasting
hearing.
time.
15 minutes.
Another 15 minutes.
Have to modify it.
What's that?
The person who moved is
Is
gonna
there,
have
is
to.
there anybody
can't
else
hear
that
you.
would like to speak? Please,
This is with the
please
modified.
stand in
Is gonna
line.
have to modify the motion.
Okay.
Total of 8.
You can't modify the motion by acclamation.
Are you
You have to
modifying?
modify your motion.
I will modify my motion to hear from the people that are currently in line.
I'll second that.
Okay, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, Shelley's the last one. Okay, fine. Shelley's the last one. Modified. 8 additional people. That's 24 minutes, Brandy. I apologize. You're gonna be sitting for a while. Okay. Motion as modified. Seconded by Jacob. No, seconded by Kenny. I think, right?
Well, she modified her second.
Okay, fine. All right. All in favor? Kenny. Bill. Myself, aye.
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 Okay. The 8 people, we've got 24 minutes, we're not going over
We don't
this.
have 24 minutes, Robert, we've got
We
the
have
line.
8 people, 3 minutes each, we've got 24 minutes. Richie, did you want to finish your comments?
Yeah, in the interest of time, I will not start at the beginning.
Thank
I
you.
will pick up where I left off with two numbers to count. The number of access points within 10 or fewer miles that are safer and more conducive to windows on the Hudson, fishing and launching of canoes, kayaks, motorboats, and jet skis. How lucky are we to live in an area where so many opportunities already exist? Number one, the number of people unilaterally making decisions on behalf of the town without consulting the other 4 board members. 2, the number of board members that have consistently voted with the supervisor to advance his personal agenda regardless of his failure to keep them informed. 2, the number of Dutchess County Supreme Court rulings against the town, knowing the local laws which enacted zoning changes to initiate the taking of the boat club. 4, the number of cases still active in Dutchess County Supreme Court, Appellate Court, and Federal Court, certain to quickly increase the amount of money spent on legal fees. 1, the number of board members it takes to make a motion to rescind the eminent domain action and force a vote to end this. That must be a board member who originally voted for the action. So Bill, Jacob, we're looking at you. And finally, 0, the additional amount of time and money this community wants wasted on this personal quest. For those here tonight and at home, let's be clear. If Robert, Bill, or Jacob did not make a motion tonight to rescind the eminent domain action, they're choosing to stretch those 17 months into years, doubling, tripling, or more than the $300,000 already wasted. Choosing themselves over the community and telling us what we want doesn't matter because they know better.
Thank you,
In
Richard.
closing, Bill, last I spoke to our attorney, you and I have a deposition scheduled for Thursday. That's what was told to me on Monday. I haven't heard otherwise. I've said this to you guys again. This includes Christine Kane, Julia Solomon. I suggest you guys have your stories aligned, and I also hope that none of you would lie under oath. That's a concern. Jacob, I have to say this. I truthfully do. It's my understanding that to run for public office in the town of Red Hook, you have to live within the town of Red Hook. Correct?
Yep.
So it's also my understanding that within 30 days of moving to New York State, you're supposed to register your car with New York State DMV. Can you do us a favor? Just please register your car in New York State.
Please.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richie. Marshall, would you say your name for the record, please?
I was about to give you a chance.
Thank you.
All right, I've been here before, I know the rules.
Can you talk into the mic? We can't hear you, hon.
Okay, darling. Marshall Cordell, Stanfordville. You have been ignoring my emails and registered letter considering the attempt to confiscate the Red Hook Boat Club. Because if you ignored me over the past year, I want the cost of postage of $5.85 refunded back to me that I previously delivered as a receipt to you in person. Your incompetence in corresponding to the taxpayer indicates to me that you have alternative motives. After looking at the big picture, it is my opinion and consideration that you are planning to take over the boat club and then sell the property to Bard College, fulfilling some other or something that the public is not aware of. Our property is sacred ground to us because the deceased members dedicated blood, sweat, and tears, which makes the club what it is today. There are 3 memorials dedicated to them. If this place was defaced by some ignorant vandals, it would bring tears to our eyes. Please stop stealing the boat club from us.
Thank you.
Teddy Blank, Claremont, New York. Collateral damage. It's the unintended side effect of an action. If we were to put a face to the term, it would be Christine Kane. As a result of the eminent domain issue, Christine Kane's fate was sealed at her party's caucus twice, and she saw years of public service unceremoniously end. But that hasn't deterred Robert, Bill, and Jacob. Let's be clear. Robert McKeon is reveling in the attention that this issue has brought to him, even seemingly enjoying the spotlight of 2 losses in court. He displays classic signs of narcissism and has a need to be front and center. Conversely, despite their staunch adherence to Robert's schemes, Bill and Jacob try to remain in the shadows. We do not see them in local public parades or at community events. Granted, given the public sentiment, doing so currently must be pretty uncomfortable. Bill and Jacob, it's your time to show real leadership and recognize that your only reward for remaining on the literal losing side of the eminent domain issue is likely being the next victim of collateral damage. You both have served a purpose for Robert, and that is probably a bitter reality. But it's time to save yourselves because, as we saw with Christine Kane, when push comes to shove, Robert is not going to save you. Make a motion to end this now. Do not allow 1 more cent to be spent on this fiasco. Prove to this community that you are listening and show Robert McKeon that he no longer controls your vote.
Thank you, Ted.
Arnold Reinders, Red Hook. It'll be exactly 1 year ago tomorrow that 3 members of this board, Robert McKeon, Bill Hamel, Jacob Testa, voted to proceed with eminent domain. 1 year ago, each member of the board walked in here with prepared speech and no intention of listening to the public, pleading with you not to proceed with eminent domain. But your minds were made up long before that meeting. They were made up before the public hearing. They were made up when the supervisor first mentioned the taking of the boat club. 1 year ago, Bill Hamel waived his pocket constitution and infamously stated that residents were mooching off neighboring towns for river access. I don't know if Bill Hamel has ever launched a boat from Germantown, Rhinecliff, Kingston, or any other location. If he had, he would have found that those towns are not only better equipped for boat launching, but welcoming to the Red Hook residents. Bill, do you see the irony that you've been mooching off the taxpayers to advance Robert McKeon's personal agenda? Jacob, I'd like to remind everyone that you are the Associate Dean of Civil Rights at Bard College. You actually get paid to protect the rights of others, but you have voted in lockstep with Robert to deprive private property owners of their rights. That's not only ironic, but stunning. And in your prepared speech a year ago, which suspiciously included many of the same talking points and phrases uttered by the supervisor, you claim to have spoken to residents in support of the eminent domain action. At the same time, your former colleague, Christine King, said she had not. It's quite curious. Bill and Jacob, look where Robert has led you. He considers you his best bet when it comes to voting, and so far, you've done exactly what he expects of you. So now you, along with Robert, own 2 losses, of which you've never lost the suit, per your record. In court, at least $300,000 of wasted taxpayer money, and lack of trust in town government. Robert got what he wanted from you. Are you happy with what you've gotten from him?
Thank you, Ron. Robert?
My name's Rob Singleton. I live at 19 Smith Street in the Village. Board members, each of you was elected to the board by the citizens of the town of Red Hook to do the will of the citizens of the town of Red Hook. Over the past year and a half, it must have become apparent to you that acquiring the Red Hook Boat Club through eminent domain is not the will of the people of Red Hook. It has been made to you apparent to you in a number of different ways, including regular appearances by citizens at these meetings expressing their opposition, social media and standard media posts and editorials expressing opposition, banners and signs throughout the town expressing opposition. If any of you contends that there is support for this action, you haven't ever provided any evidence of that support. Anecdotes of alleged phone calls without any documentation don't count as evidence. If there ever was even a small amount of support for the acquisition, there is even less support for spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money on legal fees before you have even gotten to the cost of the acquisition itself and the improvements that will be needed to make at the site. Each of you owes it to the citizens of this town to ask yourselves, is spending all of this taxpayer money on legal fees for an acquisition that the majority of the citizen opposed really serving the citizens of this town? Couldn't the money be better spent on more pressing issues? You need to ask yourself these questions. If the answer is no, then you need to vote against this latest resolution, which is essentially a blank check to spend taxpayer dollars. Board members, the signs are clear. In one direction, there is a boondoggle, wasted taxpayer dollars, and public ire. In another direction, there is an off-ramp and an end to an ill-conceived plan. I ask you, choose wisely, do the will of the majority of the citizens, and vote no.
Thank you, Ron. Linda?
Linda Stoddard, Red Hook.
Thank you.
Bill and Jacob, you guys have a problem. And he's sitting right there in between the 2 of you. Of course, this is a problem of your own making. You blindly followed his lead for years, failed to ask the pertinent questions or do your due diligence regarding the 2 rounds of zoning changes, both of which were annulled by the court. You sat on your hands when the supervisor announced his intent to seize the boat club immediately on the heels of the first zoning changes you approved. You sat on your hands when every speaker at the May 16th, 2025 public hearing expressed opposition to the eminent domain action. You sat on your hands when the overwhelming majority of the community told you to vote against the action. You sat on your hands when your former colleague, Christine Kane, saw 40 years of public service end due to the eminent domain action, which now is her legacy. You sat on your hands as the expenses mounted. You even sat on your hands when you were blindsided by the supervisor, authorizing an appeal to the first court ruling without informing any other member of the board. Boy, that's real loyalty. So yes, you guys have a problem, and that problem is called complicity. Your problem of your own making has cost the taxpayers more than $300,000, 2 court rulings against the town, a colleague rejected by her own party members twice, and a community that no longer believes in your ability to govern. So, what's your plan? Are you ready to solve your problem by voting to end this unprecedented waste? Or are you going to double down, commit to more wasteful spending, and continue to worship at the altar of Mr. Robert McKeon?
Thank you, Linda. Roland?
Roland Page, Town of Red Hook. Mr. Supervisor, like it or not, for better for worse, kind of like a marriage, you are a leader of a team of 5, not just 3. You do not have the luxury of picking your favorites, the 2 minions that sit on your side, and not including the new members of the board in your decisions. Thank you, Christina, for prevailing tonight. Thank you for you are the one of the team of 5, and as a team leader, responsible to the residents of the town and villages for using the taxpayers' tax dollars paid by the residents and for reducing benefits agreed upon by all 5 of you. You are squandering taxpayers' funds in secrecy and manipulating the actions of the town board by running a 3-man show. Shame, shame, shame.
Thank you, Roland.
Hi, I'm Shelley Day. Thank you, Ken and Christina, for forcing the conversation about the eminent domain action to be made public. It was only by Ken Askin who authorized the appeal and its related expenses at the start of the April 14th meeting that we learned the supervisor had not shared that news with the other board members. And following the news of the latest lawsuit filed by Al Trezza, Christina issued a lengthy statement asking for full transparency, public disclosure of all the expenses related to the eminent domain action, and a call to end the town's pursuit of the boat club. Her words reflect overwhelmingly community sentiment. Bill Hamill and Jacob Testa, you are now in the spotlight. You are at a crossroads. You have likely seen the multiple articles and social media posts, read the comments, and understand that residents are fed up with the secrecy, exorbitant costs, and the fixation on acquiring a property no one asked for and no one wants. The power to end this rests with you. Are you ready to work for the people you were elected to represent? We're waiting to hear from you and implore one of you to make a motion to end the eminent domain action, bring litigation to an end, and stop the bleeding of resources better directed to real areas of need. Thank you. Thank you for voting also to allow me to speak, being the last one in line. I do very much appreciate that. And just a reminder, we really think you need to recuse yourself from the Resolution 6 vote and discussion.
Hey, thank you, Brandy. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. If we can get started with our first grant application.
Before we start, I would like to actually make a motion. I have a few comments.
Christina, we're sticking with our agenda. We have
Well,
our consultant.
I
We have
I do have a
patiently
motion to make,
asked for-
Robert.
We are
Um,
on our first item with the agenda with our consultant. Brandy, can you begin,
And
please? If you would like to make
before Brandy begins, I would like to make a motion, Robert.
Okay, if you'd like to make a motion after, so Brandy can get to her items, we can do that. Brandy, may we begin with the agenda? Thank you.
Well, okay, the motion, I have a few comments to make before we get to that. I think that a park would really be great, but according to the town's own documents, we are acquiring land and we are not approving an actual park plan. And my feeling is that there has been an unreasonable amount of effort into not planning this. And the question I would ask is why? We don't know what the acquisition is going to cost. We don't know the legal fees. We don't know what it's going to cost to build and operate a park. And everyone in this room that's filling this room feels like they're having something taken away from them. But there are other people, I believe, in the town that believe they're gaining waterfront access. And Robert, you've stated that they're afraid to speak. And of course, there's two sides to every issue. However, I feel that the way that this has been handled is really disrespectful to both sides, because it is disrespectful to take something away without having a plan.
Thank you,
And
Christina.
it is disrespectful to promise the public something without a plan.
Thank you.
And people ask me all the time, Robert, what is happening with this issue? And I know that I know more than most people being on the town board, but I don't still fully understand what actually the town is doing. So I'm not going to go through every legal detail, but the simple version is that the Dutchess County Supreme Court has now thrown out 2 separate zoning and environmental review actions because the town did not adequately explain or study what they're planning to do with the property. So, I mean, could we imagine adding something as simple as a park bench or parking or bathrooms or signs or docks or more people using the site? Of course. And who benefits from that failure to do that work? Not the current owners, not the people that actually want a waterfront park if they exist because they haven't spoken up, not the taxpayers. So none of this is working. And the question is whether we're going to keep going down the path or stop and figure out the actual cost, the feasibility, and the logistics of what we're trying to create. And so my question for Jacob and Bill is, do you know what the acquisition is going to cost?
Okay, we're not having a conversation.
No, I haven't made my motion.
We're not having a conversation. Eminent domain is not on the
It's not on the
agenda
agenda.
for tonight.
It is not on the
But
agenda.
it's on the agenda and we have our consultant.
I am.
Christina, thank you. I think we have tried to accommodate your request,
Do we know
the
what's already
public's
been
request.
spent? Do we know what
This
the
is
cost is to
not
continue?
on the agenda
Do we know
tonight.
what it's going to cost to create and maintain
Brandy,
a park?
may we begin,
And
please?
so
Thank
the
you.
motion,
Christina,
Robert,
I'm gonna ask you to
Robert,
please don't
Robert.
interrupt. Thank you.
Robert, the motion
Brandy.
that I would like to make is that I move that the town board state its intent to discontinue the town's effort to acquire the Red Hook Boat Club property by eminent domain
Thank you,
and direct town council to prepare for consideration by the town board the resolutions and other actions necessary to rescind the town's prior actions and discontinue the eminent domain proceeding.
Okay, we're going to entertain this motion. We heard Kenny's motion. Kenny's second. There's a motion and a second on the floor.
Is there a second?
And I would like to get to our agenda item. There was a second from Ken Miglarelli. Is there further discussion on this matter? Or would we like to take a vote? Okay. There's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
I'd like to
Penny?
make a comment. I feel it's gonna be a money pit, and it's not thought out, just like Cookingham East and Cookingham West was not thought out properly. And it's gonna be millions, and dealing with a half a dozen agencies to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So I feel it's a waste of time and money.
Thank you very much, Penny. Anybody else like to make any comments before we take a vote on this motion?
Bill and Jacob, now's your
Okay.
time to stand
Bill
up
and
for the
Jacob.
citizens. Now's your chance to stand up.
Please don't interrupt.
Okay, Robert, let's hear it.
Please don't interrupt. We're going to take a vote on Christina's motion. I'm going to just make one comment, which is that we made a decision, a difficult decision last year around this time on this issue. And I think we've expressed ourselves on this issue. I do want to address the money issue because you have raised a number which we don't believe is accurate, but it's not important because, hang on. Please allow me to finish. It is significant. Of course, if you continue more lawsuits against the town, it will be more significant. Please let me finish. I would like to say that we have been involved in a lot of land projects in the last few years. When we conclude the final two elements of the Cookingham project, we will have, not because that we intended to, we will have made so much money on that project, we will have paid for not only these legal fees, but any ensuing legal fees, and have several $100,000 left after this. We are in the strongest position. Please don't interrupt me. Please don't interrupt me. We are in the strongest financial position that we have ever been in. Taxes are lower than they have, the town taxes are lower than they were 11 years ago. So the answer to your question is we will be in a better financial position, including all legal fees at the end of 2027.
Robert, we haven't planned anything. We don't know what it's
With
gonna
that being
cost.
said, if there are no other comments, I'd like to take a roll call. Christina?
Aye.
Jacob?
Nay.
Myself, nay. William?
Nay.
Okay, thank you. We
I
are
would
moving
like to
on
make
to
another
the, we
motion.
are
I have
moving
another
on
motion.
to the agenda.
Robert,
Christina, we're moving on to the
Robert, I have
agenda.
another motion that I would like to make.
Christina, can we
you're
get
not
this on the
making-
agenda and you can save your motions for
No,
after?
I'd like,
Brandy?
I
Well,
believe
very
I
I
can.
think we've been accommodative.
I already told Brandy she could send me an invoice for her time.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Well,
Christina, I know, no
my-
meetings, it also includes these meetings.
Let her talk, Jacob.
okay, my second motion is.
Not entertaining any motions now. If you'd
That
like to
I-
do it at the end of the
I
meeting, that's
move-
fine.
I move that the town board state its intent.
Christina, I'm asking you, please save any motions to the end. We can accommodate your motions at the end of the meeting. Brandy, would you continue, please? Okay?
Let's hear it.
Okay,
I would
Brandy,
like to
Brandy,
make a
please
motion
begin. No,
that the
we're
town
not
board
taking
states
any
its
motions
intent that
now.
the decision to acquire the Red Hook boat property for a public park, including the acquisition by
We are
eminent
not
domain, be
entertaining motions
submitted to
now.
the voters if there is a lawful procedure for doing so.
Brandy, would you begin? The floor belongs to our engineer. Brandy, would you begin? Thank you.
I need a second. Is there a
I
second?
second it.
Okay.
I'll repeat it,
Folks, no, folks, we need to get on with our,
So-
thank you. Sorry.
Alright, so let's be quiet, I'll repeat it for Bill. So the motion on the floor is that I moved that the town board state its intent that the decision to acquire the Red Hook Boat Club property for a public park, including the acquisition by eminent domain, be submitted to the voters of the town of Red Hook if there is a lawful procedure for doing so.
Okay, that's not a real motion, but that's fine.
That is a real motion, Robert, that is the motion, and it was seconded.
Kenny seconds that. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? William,
No.
okay. Folks, we're moving on with our agenda.
We're paying for a consultant.
Folks, we're moving on with our agenda. Jacob? Folks, I'm gonna ask you to please don't interrupt.
We're also paying for clerks to shut down this meeting, so.
Folks, I'm gonna ask you to please not interrupt. We have a vote on the
I'd
floor.
like to just say something.
Yeah.
Between you and Bill, you stated that there's many people that are for this. So put it up for a vote and those people can come forward.
Thank you, Kenny. All in favor, we're gonna do a roll call unless there's any other comments. Penny?
Aye.
William?
I already voted.
No? Nay?
Nay.
Nay? Okay, thank you. We are now going to move to our consultant. Brandy, you've been enormously patient. Can we do that? EFC grant, please. We need to get our sewer grant in. Thank you.
I see 99 more lawsuits. That's what I see.
Folks, please don't interrupt our consultant. Thank you.
We have an application that is in preparation jointly with the Village of Red Hook. This is for the joint sewer project between the village and the town. Last night, the village passed their authorizing resolution to make the application with the Environmental Facilities Corporation. Tonight, you have a resolution also. If you recall from the last meeting, we talked about the fact that the state has requested that the village and the town go in on the application together to the benefit of both entities for the comprehensive sewer project, which is the upgrade of the village's sewage treatment plant, the addition of collection system in the village, and the addition of collection system in the town's T&D. So that resolution is before you tonight. The application is in process right now, and we're expecting by Monday to have a draft to the board and to the village to review. We've been working with the village's consultant to accumulate all the village's documents, and we had obviously the town's documents from the last application that was made.
And in the application, the village did increase the cost for their portion of the project, and so we now have a combined cost that's over $30 million for both the plant
Village's
expansion.
consultant did provide us with their estimated cost for the total project, which was just under 25 million. And when you add that to the 6.5 million for the town's share, that puts us at the 31.5 that is in the resolution. We're working out a few minor details, minor soft cost numbers to add to that application, but it won't exceed 31.5 million.
So I have questions about this topic, but I also have to say, Robert, this is exactly why I suggested in writing that we move items 5 and 6 to the beginning of the agenda, because I think everyone in this room is invested in those agenda items, and it's frankly difficult to concentrate and get work done when the room is full of people. So we can work through
Do you have a
this
question
sewer
for
grant, but
Brandon?
I think we should move back to items 5 and 6 so
Thank
that
you.
we can get through.
We're sticking with the agenda. So Brandy,
You're such a bully.
sorry. So can you just go over, our share is not changing.
I have a big picture question though. So last meeting, Robert, I asked whether the award of the grant would be rescinded. And since then, it's been my understanding.
It has been rescinded, yes.
It's been rescinded, so we don't have, it.
The state allows just a single application per municipality, so prior to us being able to make the new joint village-town application, the state rescinded the town's previous application from last year.
And I think we explained, we thought we could apply for our portion, they could apply for their portion, but it was not part of the program materials, that we understood that there only could be a single application.
Correct.
We now understand
So if
that.
we didn't make a change, then it would be automatically rescinded. We don't have an option to continue with it.
That is correct.
Right. And so this could be a blessing in disguise because we could then get 40% for both municipalities, up to 40%,
That is
or a
correct.
total, and the resolution has a total of $12.6 million for the project. I note that last night, the Village of Red Hook held their meeting and passed their resolution approving the total project, so they focused on their number, which is the sewer plant and the addition to the collection system. Yeah.
Right, that's correct. The village's resolution has a different number in it if you happen to look at it, because they are focused on the village. The town, because the town is making the joint application, the application needs to have both the town and the village's number in it. So that's why the town's application is for more, but it spells out specifically what the town's share is in the resolution. So that is unchanged from our previous application.
And then the other thing we discussed at the last meeting was kind of a handshake between you and the village engineers on who's responsible for the design of the treatment. And I requested that you submit a proposal to peer review the treatment plant so that there was a consistent responsibility across the entire system.
Yeah, that is in progress. We've been very focused on getting the application in because it's due on the 27th, and there's been a tremendous amount of coordination with the village's consultants trying to pull the documents together and trying to work out what the cost numbers were with them, but we'll certainly get that to you.
Yeah, I think that's important in considering the total cost of the grant, all the soft costs
Yeah, and to
together.
be perfectly honest, Christina, we've had a lot of people on vacation right out of the school year being closed, so my key two people that are putting that together, they'll be back later this week and I'll get them on that.
Okay.
But we could, in a future date, maybe ask the village engineers to come and explain how the MBR system is different than the current system and how it
Sure, yeah, they have
could
prepared their
be.
preliminary engineering report, so they, if you had process questions for us.
I'd definitely be open to that, but my issue is given all of the troubles that the village has had with their system, that there's one professional from beginning and end to everything that we're gonna add. If we're gonna get a grant, we're gonna pay for adding sewer to all these other properties, then I think that there should be responsibility from beginning and end to that system.
Yes, we're gonna have oversight over the project, exactly right. It's important because we are responsible for those.
But we currently don't have those numbers in front of us.
I don't know what you mean by that.
For the
For the soft cost, for your review of the treatment plan.
No, I don't have that for you.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're looking for a second opinion and that,
Correct, I asked for a peer review of the treatment plan.
right. Okay, so when the design's ready, I think that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
the design, so
I think you could provide a cost before the design is ready though.
I think we'd wanna,
I think you could put a not to exceed without prior authorization
well, then
number
I
together
could just
for.
spitball a number too, but it would be useful for us to talk with them about some of the details of their design.
Sure, but you're doing most of it, and my only issue is that you're not doing the totality of it, so I think there should be one responsible party for all of it.
And just to be clear, we have no current responsibility for any part of the plan.
Correct, that's my issue.
But that will be reviewed by both the county and the DEC, so.
As would be a residential system would be reviewed by the county, but that's not the issue. The issue is that the village has had problems with their treatment plant, so if we're gonna expand upon that, I think that it would be beneficial to us to have you as our engineer review the totality of the system and give us your opinion on not only the branch lines, but the treatment plant.
So you're asking us to review their collection system as well, or just we are designing the town's
Yes.
collection system, so just to be clear.
No, not the collection system in the village.
Just the treatment.
No, the
Yeah.
treatment plant and the branch lines that we're adding in the town.
Yes, we will be responsible for the collection system in the town up to the plant. So
You explained that last time, but my question was, please provide a cost to review the part that you're currently not responsible for to make the new parts that we're adding fully function.
Yes. and that is in progress.
Okay. This is the resolution they passed
Turn
last.
your mic, nobody can hear you. Please.
This is the resolution that the village passed last night on their portion of it, so we're good to go to entertain this resolution. Any other questions as it relates to resubmitting for the IMG? And again, we've been encouraged to apply together, to reapply to EFC, to this program by EFC teams. Okay, this would be resolution number, Deanna, please.
35.
Sorry, 35?
35.
35. Resolution number 35 dated July 14th, authorizing application for a New York State intermunicipal water infrastructure grant for joint sewer project, whereas the town and village have entered into an IMA a couple years back and amended in December 9th of 2024 to provide for construction, operation, maintenance, and financing of sewage collection and treatment systems in the town sewer district number 1 and in the village, the joint project. And whereas the town and village desire to submit a grant application to fund a portion of the cost for sewer district number 1, proposed sewer district number 1, no, actually it is sewer district number 1, apologies, including installation of collection system components and expansion of certain components of the village sewer system to accept effluent from the town sewer district 1, estimated at $6.596 million, and for expansion and improvement to the village sewer system, including collection and treatment within the areas designed by the village, estimated at $24,921,000 for a total joint project cost of up to $31,517,000. For a total cost of $31,517,000. Who would like to make that motion?
I would.
Thank you, William. Who would like to second?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. Is there any further discussion on resolution number 35? If not, all in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, we now have resolution number 36. And before we go ahead and entertain a resolution to apply for the New York Kicks grant program, you know, at first blush, it seemed like a wonderful opportunity to make an application to get up to $200,000 towards the construction costs associated with Rec Park West. As you know, we've started to build out over time Rec Park West, which sat there idly for many years after the acquisition. It has, why don't I get to the map for the folks at home? Oh, well, that's not facing a very favorable way, but if you can imagine, that map is supposed to be horizontal. This is Linden Avenue, the built field is here, coming off here. 3 rectangular fields are part of the adopted plan. Folks, if I could ask you to just go further into the hallway if you're going to chat, so we can also be able to conduct our meeting. Thank you. So 200,000, but we're talking about, if we were to construct all 3 fields, a 7-figure number, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, there's a, to build out the remainder of the 3 fields, beyond the softball field that's out there, requires a lot of earthwork, and the master plan, considered 3 fields could fit back there. The earthwork numbers were coming in pretty high when we were doing the pricing on the cut and fill, and with the grant only being $200,000, I just wondered if it's a priority for the town at this point in time. Would probably only cover a quarter to a third of 1 field. If we were successful with that New York Kicks grant. So, we want to make sure you're applying for things where we feel like you've got a good chance at getting it, and that it'll really move the needle for you on projects. And I just pose whether or not this is one you guys want to focus on for this current funding cycle.
What is your opinion?
my opinion, I think, it's a limited pool of funds, so there's $5 million statewide. The maximum grant is capped at $200,000, so it's not a very well-funded program. I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of demand and,
So what does a field cost roughly?
it's somewhere in the mid six figures, depending on.
So it's $500,000 per field, and we're proposing 3 fields, but we would get a maximum of 200.
What I'd suggest is a single field if you were gonna go forward, put the fields in phases, you could do that, put one in, and then in a couple of years, if the town wanted to, you could add the others.
And the resolution cites $700,000.
For
For a single field.
For a field, okay.
Yeah.
And we anticipate that this is a one-time only grant, right? That we're
Correct.
not expecting them to continue this in future years. So it's either we apply now and we get a portion of one field, or we don't apply and we don't have this funding source specifically.
Yes.
We would look to something like a member item perhaps, because it's parks related. Something where we could have a larger.
It's not a program, it's a program just for this year, so it's hard to know, how they're scoring it and how many applications there are gonna be, how much interest there is, so it's a little bit difficult. They are prioritizing, low to moderate income communities are gonna be getting, I think, 30 to 40% of the funds, so you guys don't meet that designation yourself, you do jointly with the villages, but, it makes it a little bit more competitive, I think.
So just because I'm new to this, like what does it cost us to put the grant forward, or to complete the grant? Roughly, just ballpark.
Our fee is usually around $1,500 per grant application for our time to pull the applications together.
Okay.
So I have a question. Say you get awarded the grant, how long do you have to expend that money?
It's
It's all
program
different.
by program
Yeah, it's all
typically,
different.
Bill.
But this one,
Yeah, I would say what I commonly tell communities is that if you apply this year, it's for construction in 2 years.
2 years.
Because it'll take about a year, you won't
The plan-
hear about the
yeah, the
award
plan,
until
right.
December, it'll be next year contracting and then you'd be in construction, so it'd be a 28 construction. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm-
really up to you, but
I'm not crazy about applying for a tiny bit of money towards, part of it is we don't know what the future is for the Red Hook Soccer Club on the property that they are. It'd be nice to know. I've been asking at least the former head of that program to understand whether they will have continuity, because there is, some infrastructure in their current place right now, but that property is up for sale. On the other hand, applying for $200,000 and, if you're looking at a 7-figure for all the other fields, it doesn't seem like, the worst thing you want to do is apply for the grant, get the money and go, it's still not enough to go forward with the project, it's not a priority right now.
But we could also want to apply for additional money in the future to compound, right? And
Possibly.
I don't know if that's something where if we say, hey, we've got $200,000 from this, maybe we look at, like you said before, different funding to say, could you help, get us over the finish line?
Absolutely. The challenge, though, and one of the reasons why I think we're so successful with grants is because A, we apply for them, B, we complete the projects. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to take away funding that could go to another municipality that just needs the 200, for example. So it's demonstrating that you will receive the grant and fulfill those obligations. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I'm not inclined to apply for this. That's just how I feel. I don't know how others feel. It's going to be a couple years, no matter what. I mean, it could be it could be a year by the time you get it. And I think Brandy didn't cover this time in other meetings, but once you do the construction, and maybe we can use in-house forces someday, you need 2 years before the fields will be ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kenny, you wanted to.
well, I just said, what if the property does get sold and the new owners wanna discontinue? I mean, I think they're on their last year lease.
They are, yeah, their lease is supposedly up at the end of 27. Yeah.
There's a lot of kids that utilize those fields.
Yeah, yeah, but then there's the possibility that the club could work out something with the new owner, right? So I think this is the challenge, that here we are in this quasi, it's a club, but we want to make sure those kids have an opportunity to play soccer, and so
Does this KICS grant have to be for soccer?
Yes,
oh yeah,
it
that's
is
why it's
specifically
called
for
KICS.
soccer.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
get that, but I what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
say you had a field and it didn't have facilities for people, would you be able to use it for that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have the whole program description in front of me. I think it's for fields specifically. I don't think it's for amenities.
Right.
Okay.
Because the master plan has a much larger build out, there's like concessions and restroom facilities and expanded parking and
Right.
in addition to the 3 fields.
Right.
So this would just allow you to move forward with installing a single field.
Yeah. And I do think we need to get to we've been talking about in solving one problem, trying to get water, get utility over there. We have electric nearby, but we need to get water that property. And so that I think we're gonna get something from your office hopefully in the next month or so after the grant cycle. We'll talk about how to close the loop there on Linden, and get water over there. But yeah, we need to look at that infrastructure, bring the infrastructure to the property before we stop going too crazy with the fields themselves, right? We don't have a restroom over there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you'd have to have like portalettes or something
Which
like that.
which we do,
Parking,
which we do now have
Oh, you do have portalettes
we have
over
a portable one. I think it was the softball. Yeah. So I don't know what.
Want to pass this one over
What
then?
say you? What are your thoughts? I don't like to apply for grants knowing that we're not likely to be able to accomplish it. That's me.
I'm fine passing on it for now. It feels like something we can prioritize in the future.
I would agree.
Jacob, you look like you're struggling with
No,
it a little.
I mean, I think that the program seems like a good one.
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could build a field, right? Like, we could build one field, but I think that it is sort of, a question of whether it's the most meaningful use of our time and resources to do this project in this way.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not an easy one. Not an easy one. Well, we could always come back to this.
When is it due?
It's due the 31st of July.
Yeah. All of these grants are due the 31st, the
They're all
CFAs,
that we're talking
with the
about.
exception of the IMG, which is the 27th.
July.
Okay, let's go on to the next one then, shall we? We'll skip that over.
The next one is the grant application for the through the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Parks Program. And this is the program this year. Every year their program priorities change, but this year they have a program priority that is for projects that enhance, extend, or complement multi-use pedestrian and bicycle trails, creating physical and functional connections among already protected state and local lands, historic properties, greenways, trails, and waterways. That's almost exactly what you guys are doing with that trail
Exactly.
link. It closes the V2V trail gap also. And so the program has a maximum award of $675,000. We've been working on the bridge crossing concept design and preliminary engineering. We've been talking with a vendor that provides a turnkey solution on bridges. They'll do the design, the engineering, and the installation. And they have quoted us a price that when you couple it with the enabling site work that needs to be done to get in there and put the abutments in, is about $1.3 million. So the 675 is roughly half of the estimated construction costs, and that's an escalated construction cost to 2028. We would recommend this year going forward. I think you're in a good position, given where you are with the design. We do want to have construction dollars sort of teed up so that when the design and the permitting is finished, you could move into construction and, well, bidding and construction.
Do we have any issues with, the grant covers up to 50% of the project, if we list 1.3 million, 675 is 1.35? Do we have any issues with that number being higher than the estimate?
They will only give you 50% or 675, whatever is higher. Yeah.
Well, I think this is an important project. I don't know what you all think. This is one that we've got two minor connections, this being one of them. And when that's concluded, we'll be able to go from the village of Red Hook to the village of Tivoli. The trail system is built out otherwise.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Okay. This is,
And
sorry.
I would note that John Kuhn, in his report for their meeting, is getting repeated requests for a bridge so that people can park at the rec park as opposed to on park, so, which is part of the goal.
Okay. We're on 36. Resolution number 36 to apply to Office of Parks, Historic Research, OPHRP. Ooh la la, it's all the way up here. Grant for Red Hook Trail Link Bridge project, whereas the town desires to submit a grant application for a New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to fund a portion of the cost for the construction of the proposed Red Hook Trail Link pedestrian bridge over the Salk Hill connecting the Red Park to the Cookingham Recreational Trails project with an estimated construction cost of $1.3 million. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook, County of Dutchess, State of New York, town as follows. The town supervisor, in his absence or unavailability, the deputy supervisor is authorized to submit an application to New York State OPRHP for a grant amount not to exceed $675,000 to fund a portion of the cost of the project.
This was resolution 36 or 37?
I think it's 36 since we didn't vote on the last one.
Oh.
The other one was supposed to be 36.
Okay, I would like to move 36.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'd just like to point out, just because there were some comments about the Cookingham project, what? We just lost our second technicality. The Cookingham project is a model that's being used all along the Northeast of having many public purposes, the trails being one of them, permanent farmland preservation, affordable housing. We received millions of dollars with our partner Repco towards the project. This is a wonderful opportunity on the spur that goes to the water treatment plant to connect the rec park to the Cookingham trails. It's an asset you don't often see in the village, is to have these great wide open spaces. And as I mentioned, we will soon be preparing that property for sale. And that to a farmer, the farmland, we protected all of the active farmland with a permanent conservation. And there's also some property that was reserved for the village for an additional well site.
That sounds good. But to a true farmer, they would have never set it up the way it was set up.
Right. Well, I appreciate, Kenny, we may disagree on that. We've had a
You're
couple.
not a true farmer, so you wouldn't.
No shit.
We have had people who are interested in the property and do like the idea of the fencing there, but the fencing was necessary to keep the people off the. Yeah, they'll be going up soon, right? It's resolution 36. It's been moved, it's been seconded. All in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Myself, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Joe.
Aye.
Christine, thank you. Resolution 36.
I believe the next one is New York State Department of State Smart Growth Community Planning. This is, the town is currently undertaking the comprehensive plan under a Smart Growth Community Planning grant from 2024. And because, even though the comprehensive plan is not yet completed, because you are funded under this program, the state is allowing those communities to apply for the next round of funding so that you can move forward with implementation of your comprehensive plan, which would include making the zoning updates that the town has as recommendations in that comp plan once it's completed. So this sort of acknowledges the fact that there's sort of a lag in that grant contracting process, but this would help move the process more forward more quickly. I've talked with Julia Solomon, and I believe she talked with you also, Robert, and they think $200,000 is the budget for the zoning updates and the associated environmental review for that. We can make a grant request of $150,000, and so we recommend you move forward with that.
Very good. And I think, yeah, no reason why we wouldn't, right? It'll be ready by the time we get the grant and the monies. We'll be ready to implement. It does take a while, but it won't be awarded till the end of the year. By the time we get a contract, it's 2027. Okay, it's resolution 37. Who would like to move 37? You're
I'll move that one.
the liaison, right?
Yes.
Jacob? Okay. Very good. Is there a second?
Aye.
Okay,
Second.
that's a second. Any further discussion? Okay, just want to thank all the folks volunteering on the comp plan update committee for their work. And all in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Thank you. That was 37.
The fifth one that we talked about was the WQIP program, which stands for Water Quality Improvement Program. We did look at this program to see if we could fund some shed repairs with it. I did get word back last week from the Division of Water that they only will fund new ground up salt sheds, they won't fund repairs. And so we were encouraged to look at WQIP. Has several subset programs in it, salt storage being just one program. The other program, one of the other programs that they have is called removal of aquatic barriers, and the Willits Culverts, whose design work is being funded under a Hudson River Estuaries Program grant, would qualify under the removal of barriers for construction dollars for those culverts. Those culverts, I think I mentioned at one of the last meetings, were part of a study that the town did in 2008 to identify culverts that are prioritized for needing replacement, and the highway superintendent and her team do a good job of replacing culverts that they have the tools and skills to replace, but there were several culverts in town that have a more complicated construction scenario, and these ones on Willits meet that because they have large road cuts associated with them. So the estimate to replace the two culverts on Willits is preliminarily estimated at $1.5 million. The WQIP program will cover 75% of the project cost up to $2 million, whichever is less. So at $1.5 million, the town would be eligible to apply for $1.125 million towards the project cost, and we would recommend you go forward and make that application under the WQIP program.
Sorry, I have to get back to my spot here. There we go.
I don't know, did you pull up the specific subset program of aquatic passability? I have a paper copy of it, but So if you scroll up just to the bulleted list, they're eligible project types. The aquatic connectivity one is like 4 up from the bottom of that list there. Yep. So you can see that the match is 25%, so the state will fund up to 75%. We did have a preliminary conversation with our DEC contact who's reviewing our design plans right now. He said that this program is what towns who have done the design under Hudson River Estuary program are using to move forward with construction. He obviously can't tell us we can get a grant, but he did encourage us to apply.
Design work's already done, right?
The design work is like
Moving
60%
along,
done.
yeah.
It's gone to the DEC. They're reviewing it right now, and then they'll send it back to us, and then we have to finish the permitting. But should you be successful here, it will be done and ready for bidding before the grant funds are available to the town for construction. Again, maybe a late 27 construction, 28 definitely.
Yeah. Any more questions on this one? This one seems fairly straightforward, 75% fund. Yeah.
We've been doing the work to prepare to replace these culverts. It's a great opportunity to actually do it.
Follow through with the first grant.
Yep.
I gotta believe they wanna fund this eventually.
That's what the states keep telling us, that
Right.
they're making the funds available. If they're making the design funds available, they'll make construction dollars available as well.
Right. Seems logical. Okay, 38, 39, sorry Deanna, where are we?
38.
38, thank you. Resolution number 38 dated July 14th, 2026, resolution authorizing an application for the WQIP, otherwise known as Water Quality Improvement Program, grant for Willets Culverts. Town Board desires to submit a grant application for $1.125 million to fund 75% of up to a $1.5 million project to replace the culverts on Willets. And did I move that? It's culverts. It's culverts. You're the liaison.
Sure, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Kenny.
Aye.
William, myself, aye.
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 Aye. 5-0. Okay. Randy, you're not involved with the Aspinwall Bridge, but may I, and apologize, put you on the spot just a little bit?
Sure.
You probably understand we have another firm involved with this. This was for the folks at home, we're replacing the Aspinwall Road Bridge. We received a Bridge New York grant a few years ago. You go through the process of design, so on and so forth. We got additional funding. And we went out to bid. We only had 2 bids. There was a problem with one of the bids. We were told the timing wasn't great to be going out to bid, so we've decided to reject the bids and go out to bid soon, in the next month or 2. But in the meantime, we're looking at ways to also, because we didn't like the numbers necessarily either, if there are some alternatives that we could explore that might reduce the cost without necessarily changing too much the overall aesthetic of the bridge. So I think that's kind of where we are. And so the engineer sort of sent us some samples of, instead of stone, this is sort of a stamped concrete look, to sort of mimic stone. I asked him if he could send some additional ones. This is stone block wing wall.
How come we got stuff for this, but not for the boat club?
Form lined concrete to match stone block wing wall.
Prime example, high-end luxury condos.
And then we have smooth concrete option.
Didn't we get input from the community of what their interest was?
Well, they wanted to retain as much of the character for the bridge as possible. Oh, and here's another option which obviously has 0 character, which is the box beam guide rail option. Obviously, the primary purpose of replacing a bridge is to ensure its safety for the passage of vehicles and others. Do you have any experience with stone alternatives? I know you don't do a lot of bridge work.
I mean, we do culvert work and it comes up in culverts. I would say, so just to be clear, we're not the designer, so I'm not sure what your consultant at Creighton Manning is recommending, but it is not uncommon to bid alternative facing of the structure. So you would have a poured concrete and then maybe a stone veneer and then maybe a stamped concrete, and that gives you the option to have some flexibility in award and sort of weigh that aesthetic versus cost factor in the bids. So.
The other estimate had stone?
Yeah, that image, I'm sorry, it's not on this package, but this packet, but it's been in all the other packets. We have a visual of it. In fact, I can probably go grab that.
I think the example of the stone that I'm aware of is the bridge in Tivoli on Broadway, so Stony Hill. When that was replaced, they did a stone veneer on it. So I think that's kind of what folks think about when they think about a replacement bridge with a stone veneer.
And that would bring the cost down.
It brings the cost up, actually. Yeah, to add that stone. So in order of cost, it's probably a poured concrete, either a smooth concrete or a colored concrete. And Christina may have some insights as well, because vertical construction, which is more her area of expertise. But the concrete, and then the stamped concrete, and then the stone veneer, and then stone.
Well, we're not trying to make a decision tonight, right? This is just a discussion.
Oh man! Wow,
That's amazing.
So this is what the image is. So if you recall, the bridge has stone throughout, which is part of the problem, the engineering problem. And so when it's not wide enough, and there was overtopping, and obviously the stone was becoming an impediment and causing flooding to surrounding properties. So the idea was to try to have the entrances on both sides to have real stone facade to sort of as much as possible keep the character, retain character, and then obviously the water can pass through during these areas. I don't know if that's visible too.
Is it gonna remain one lane? That's one lane, right?
No, it's two.
Oh, it is two lanes?
Yeah, it's 2 lanes. It's going to be wider. It's going to be a little wider because that was part of the problem. It wasn't wide enough. So this is also on our website. Sorry, so that's what it looks like now. I mean, if you have any samples too, and just to be correct, because I think you mentioned Creighton Manning, it's HVEA that's doing this project. They won the bid on this a couple of years ago. Okay.
So
Anything else? I think we just need to get more alternatives and see if we want to, when we rebid in the next month or so, if we want to rebid with alternates and then see what those come in at and then make a judgment call
Do we
on.
have a timeline on making a decision?
Yeah, I would say probably next month we want to make a decision if we want to include, at our August 11th meeting, we probably want to make a decision whether we want to include alternates in the rebid. Now, if we're just going to rebid the specs the way they are, then, it probably can go to the next meeting or the first September meeting. I'll try to narrow that even more specifically.
Was he only gonna go out to bid on September 1? Was that the plan? Because he's gonna need time to incorporate that into a bid document that you can then approve.
Right.
Once you make the decision.
Right, so that's why I'm saying by August 11th, we'll need to decide whether or not we want to have an alternate included in the bidding documents, and everything gets reviewed by DOT. In fact, we just heard yesterday, I think, that from DOT that they were okay with us rejecting the bids and going out to rebid. So, in answer to your question, August 11th, we need to decide. So if Brandy, if you or your firm or anybody has any other images or materials we could take a look at. I know HVEA wants to send us some more stuff, what they get their hands on. But this is pretty common, I guess, this stamped concrete?
Yes, very common.
Very common, yeah. I wouldn't mind going to see a bridge. I'm sure I've seen a bridge with stamped concrete, but I just
right now, off the top of my head, I can't think of any place,
Right.
but yeah, there's probably a dozen places that you could look at it.
Okay, I think that's it. Brandy, thank you very much for your patience this evening. We appreciate your help in all these matters. Okay, Chris, I'm gonna put you on for a second if you wouldn't mind. Just give us a little background on the county shared services agreement. I know you've been trying to work with the county on we had an agreement we signed a few years ago.
We approved. I don't think the county ever approved it.
Right.
It came from the county and we did approve it, but apparently the county, for whatever reason, didn't finalize it. And I don't know if that was because they had, not enough participation or what, but this time around they proposed a different agreement. That agreement was for emergency shared services throughout the county. This agreement is for any type of highway and road related shared services for any purpose, for any reason. It's a pretty broad scope, and the language is extremely loose, so that the authorized official can decide to share any equipment at any time with any of the municipalities that are participating in the county IMA. It's not the town county necessarily, it's town and any other town or village, whatever, that happens to want to share equipment. And whether or not you share equipment for free or for pay is just supposed to be agreed upon every time you do it. So, it's an agreement that's pretty loose. We did provide some comments to the county, some extensive comments. They accepted a lot of them and revised the document, but they didn't accept all of our comments. So I'm just bringing forward some of the issues that I think that you should consider if you still want to enter into the agreement. Notwithstanding that, I think you might want to consider creating some internal controls of your own that start with, what does the other resolution authorize? In other words, does a resolution authorize signing the agreement, but authorizing the officials who are designated to manage this program to carry out a certain set of rules so that you all know when money's being spent, when your resources are being used, how long they're being used for, and all of that. Usually when we have an IMA with one municipality, we have a process where they're supposed to document, how many hours in the truck, how many miles are they using the truck for. Everybody's supposed to log the same way you log your own equipment so that you can tell what you're doing. And whether or not you're going to decide to charge presumably depends on whether you are, benefiting one for the other if you're sharing things back and forth, as opposed to it's sort of a one-way street. And since these are your resources, you have to consider what's the appropriate use of the town's resources. And certainly I think that it would be something you might consider to have more flexibility for emergency situations, right, as opposed to wanting to share equipment for non-emergency situations, where maybe the process is a little bit more truncated in the emergency situation as opposed to, just a garden variety situation. And I think you also need to consider you have current agreements with some municipalities that you've been using. Are you intending that you're going to not follow those agreements and follow these? Is this going to substitute for those? I think we need to be clear about that so you and your insurer understand what the rules are that you're supposed to be following. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it all makes sense. I mean, part of the challenge here is it's not just for emergency situations, which, would be easier in some respects because emergencies don't crop up as often as this agreement would allow for sharing, which we've done many times with either a piece of equipment, the mini excavator being one of the most recent agreements we had with 2 or 3 other municipalities. But then, those issues of maintenance and insurance and so on and so forth. But we do want to have this ability to share equipment. So
has anyone spoken to Teresa about this? I saw that she shared, I think, this exact document in an email.
Yeah. Yes. and this document came to us. Our attorney offered some comments to the county.
But do we know what
And-
our highway superintendent's opinion is?
I don't think we got a lot of specific comments, did we, Chris, when you were working on it? Did she share any comments with you? I didn't get any comments except that she thought we should look at this agreement.
Right, she's interested in using this facility.
Right.
Which obviously gives a lot of flexibility. So, I mean, you could consider, for example, entering into the agreement to authorize the process, but then have an internal process, you know, by resolution where you specify, okay, this is what you think the process should be, you know, for your internal purposes. And I would, leave that to you guys to decide what is an appropriate process, but you certainly need to have one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do have some sharing with the village and how those times and equipment have been documented and how the cost share is happening in that situation. Obviously, we have shared facilities when it comes to salt, gasoline, and so on and so forth. But
Say, it would be good to know how many other municipalities have done this and get copies of any modifications they've done that might be helpful for us thinking about.
Well, Bill, there's only one
There's
agreement.
only
The
one
county is trying to facilitate a single agreement that everybody
with
signs.
each municipality.
Oh, I understand that,
Yeah,
but how many municipalities have signed this agreement?
we don't know yet.
Because that would be helpful to basically benchmark or contact other municipalities that might be similarly sized as us about issues that they may or may not have had with this agreement, or modifications they might have made and worked out with the county.
Or the internal controls
Well,
with
again,
some
I think the county's made the modifications they're interested in
That they're
making.
willing
So
to
I
make.
think
They're willing.
You're either gonna, you know what I mean? So either you're gonna make use of this agreement in some way and compensate for the extensive flexibility in this agreement with some internal procedures of your own, right? Or you're just not gonna do it. So I think those are some choices that you have. I think you could, create some internal procedures to help you manage this.
Okay.
Does the county have any proposed date that they would like municipalities to sign on to this, or is this something that's just everybody in their own time?
I think it's rolling, yeah. Well, and as last time, they sent us their agreement, we signed it, we sent it back, and then they didn't get a countersign back to us. Obviously, we need to be able to share equipment. I mean, there was a storm not too long ago, you all heard about it. We were fortunate that we were not impacted the way municipalities in the southeast of the county, Pauling, their CVS burned up in the fire. And there was some sharing of equipment there needed, and that was what the focus of previous agreements were, based upon emergency situations, which is easier to, obviously, to administer. This is very open-ended, and I think that's Chris's concern, is that both the accounting and the administration of it. I mean, are we giving our equipment if somebody wants to do something that doesn't seem to be critical in nature? It's just, there really doesn't seem to be any guardrails there.
Well, I think, if you, for example, if you said, look, if it's gonna be an emergency, we can authorize it administratively, we're gonna track it such and such a way, every time we do it, we're gonna, record what we're doing, and if we're gonna do something that's non-emergency, we're gonna bring it back to the board and at least, have a motion to approve a particular sharing arrangement so that we know what's going on. I mean, that's one option. You can do, any range of options, but, I think you need to decide how you're gonna manage this internally.
Yeah. I'm happy to reach out to my colleagues in different municipalities and find out, what they're doing and why they're doing it, and what internal controls they've established, if they have already.
My comment is just that this was circulated a month ago, and I'm surprised, by Teresa, and I'm surprised that we haven't, that nobody's connected with her to find, I mean, I could infer from the email that she's in support of this, and she was looking to have it approved back in June.
Okay, well, this is a different version that first went out. We, through our attorney, gave our concerns about the agreement.
Who's the liaison to Highway?
I am.
Have you reached out to Teresa?
I have.
Well, let's do that between now and then. We've asked if Teresa can come to the August meeting. She couldn't come tonight and she can't come to the August 11th, but maybe we can get her to the second August meeting, if that works for her schedule, and we can go over that. In the meantime, can you see if she had particular?
Yeah.
Chris, has she been reaching out to you on this, giving you input?
Just reminders that, that she's been sending to the board that she'd like this to be resolved, right?
But with no input, just that she wants it.
Well, I mean.
Okay.
So we've ignored, my point is we've ignored her for a month, and that's,
I
don't think it's fair to say we've ignored her. I think we've heard her comments.
Yeah, I think.
She hasn't asked for us to respond. She said that she would like us to consider this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about it now.
Chris doesn't think that's a fair comment, and I don't think that's a fair comment, Christina. I mean, the criticism, we're working towards it. We've had this on a couple of meetings agenda, and we're trying to figure out something. We thought there would be more changes made to this document, and it's not necessarily something we feel comfortable with at this point because it has too much open-endedness to it. So I don't think it's fair to criticize those that are working on the document because someone didn't provide their input to the document. Okay. A couple of things to do. You're going to see if she has any specific comments. I'm going to see other municipalities, what they've done so far, any internal controls to it. If they shared some of the same concerns, the changes that haven't been made that we requested. Anything else? Let's look to put this back on one of the August, let's see if August, that would be the 25th, yeah? No, 26th meeting agenda. For reorg, we just have one thing for reorg, which is we have communication that we're fortunate Susan Grover is willing to step up from an alternate on the ZBA to be a permanent member.
How long has she been an alternate?
She's been attending regularly.
Meetings now.
They're really short on numbers.
Had a couple resignations recently. Okay, so what we have for openings is a vacancy that ends in 27 and well, let's see, we have, I mean, we're not that short. We're just short the one position, right? Christina, I know. Were you at the last meeting?
I was not at the last meeting, no, but they are looking to appoint Susan.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but I mean, you made the comment that they're really short, but I mean, it looks like it will be a full complement once she's a permanent member. Okay, so the vacancy exists to a term ending in 2027. Who would like to make a motion, presuming we do want to appoint her as a permanent member?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Anyone like to second that? To appoint Susan Grover as a permanent member with the term ending in December 2027. Thank you, Jacob. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Thank
So
you very
to
much.
answer your question, though, they have 2 vacancies and Kate is leaving, so that's the issue. They have an alternate vacancy and they have a member
Oh.
vacancy.
Right, you were talking about alternates, there's a vacancy, right, but the membership is now a full complement of 5, and Kate will eventually be
Kate will-
leaving?
Kate will be leaving.
Okay. Alright. So we'll look for that, I think she's finishing out the year, if not more, but, we'll look for that. Okay, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the hiring of outside counsel in the matter of Trezza versus the town of Red Hook and town supervisor. Is there a second to that motion?
Would you have to recuse yourself from that?
I do not need to recuse myself.
We can't hear you.
I made a motion to go into executive session. Oops, I made a motion to go into executive session to discuss the hiring of outside counsel in the matter of Trezza versus Town of Red Hook and Town Supervisor. Is there a second to that motion?
But I have a question.
Yes, I heard your question. I do not need to recuse myself in this matter.
Where's the transparency? Why not do it here? Why not
Second.
in front of us?
Thank you, Jacob. Is
Why
there
can't you do this in front of us, Robert?
any further discussion?
I don't know why we can't talk about it in public, I'm
Why
gonna
can't
vote
you talk
against it.
about it in public? We're here,
Is
we wanna
there-
hear this conversation,
We have
Robert.
a
That's why
motion,
we're here.
we have a second. Folks, we're going to an executive session to discuss the hiring of
What a
counsel.
cop-out.
We'll hear it.
There's a
Okay.
transparency,
All,
Robert.
all in favor? Kenny?
Nay.
William?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. Jacob? Christina?
Nay.
All right, if we are taking action, we'll be coming back out.
Snakes.
Don't you need this?
Snakes are regular.
I'm sorry?
Snakes, right there.
Take caution.
Can I take, do you want me to take minutes? Yes, yes.
I'm sorry.
Don't you need to come back out to adjourn?
Yes, we will be back out to take any action or adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Going to their dungeon.
Okay, thank you, folks. We're back in. The meeting continues. We went into executive session to discuss hiring outside counsel in the matter that I previously described. This is agenda item number 6. Would somebody like to make a motion on this item?
Excuse me?
Okay, Bill, do you have your microphone? Okay.
So this is a motion to approve the hiring of Zarin and Steinmetz LLP in the matter of Trezza versus Town of Red Hook regarding the summons and complaint number 2026-53464 filed on June 29, 2026 in Dutchess County Supreme Court, and to authorize the supervisor to execute the letter of engagement dated July 13th, 2026. That's the motion.
Thank you, Bill. I would ask you to maybe amend your motion so that it also includes the naming of Robert McKeon in his official capacity as supervisor of the Town of Red Hook and the Town of Red Hook. I think that's what the complaint.
This is,
Unless-
and to clarify, this is to sign the letter of engagement, because I'm gonna make a motion after we're done this motion. This is just to authorize the signing of the hiring of this attorney.
Bill, did you amend your
I said
motion?
to authorize the supervisor to execute the letter of engagement with Zarin and Steinmetz dated July 13th, 2026. On behalf
Okay.
of the Town of Red Hook.
In the matter of Trezza against, did you make that amendment? Okay.
No, it was in there.
Okay, Robert McKeon in his official capacity as supervisor of the town of Red Hook and the town of Red Hook, New York. Okay, summons, I think you mentioned 2026-53464.
Yep, filed on June 29th, 2026.
Thank you. Okay, so there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. Is there further discussion on this matter? Okay, I'll call a roll call. Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm gonna make a motion
I haven't voted
that the
yet.
point of contact for the attorney just hired shall be myself and Bill Hamel.
Okay, there is a motion on the table to have two individuals be the point of contact in this matter. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kenny. Is there any discussion?
I think that's a big departure from the way that towns typically appoint people to be the liaison with council. I don't think that it's a particularly wise or efficient way to do that. That's my response.
What I would say is, as members of the town board, all of us are entitled to the information that is gathered from our attorney who represents the town. This is really about day-to-day conversations about when things are due, how to do them. And I don't see any real necessity to have this motion. And usually, in all the motions that I've done, because I am the deputy town supervisor, they say the town supervisor and/or his designee. And so the reality is, any one of us could be the designee, and any one of us could do it. It doesn't, I just don't think that there's much necessity for this motion. I don't think it adds anything. I don't think, maybe for the public thinks that the optics are better, but on a day-to-day basis, I just don't think it's.
I do think the optics are important. I think that it's significant that Robert is the only one that's named in this. And so I think that, given the overall toxicity in the eminent domain acquisition, it's important that somebody other than Robert be the representative.
Okay. I would say that I don't think it's wise, ever wise, to have somebody appointed to defend the town in a matter that they don't believe is a matter that the town should be engaged in. So it would be inappropriate for you to be the liaison point, in my opinion, in this matter. And, for years, please, folks, as the day-to-day person, you see every resolution that comes in front directs the town supervisor, or in his absence, the deputy town supervisor, whoever that happens to be at the time, to fulfill these obligations and to be the point person in the matter. And so I won't be supporting your motion, Christina, because my job is to vigorously defend the town in this
But I will
what I
also
consider
point out
frivolous
that you're
lawsuit.
not by default the point of contact, that you do have to have a motion and to vote on it and to agree
Yeah.
on who the point of contact is.
Yeah, and you'll
there's
see
more than
all
one
the,
person.
yeah, and you'll see throughout history, not just in this municipality, but in others, you see motions to direct the town supervisor to do this or to do that, and that sort of leads to the next resolution.
It's timely that we respond to this lawsuit, so if this motion fails, then we should continue to discuss who the point of contact is until we have a consensus, or until a vote passes.
I think we are going to vote on that, and I think it just may not be. It just may not be that in this case that the vote is going your way on this one. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
Bill? Aye. Aye is to appoint Christina and to
I'm a
Bill.
nay.
You are nay? I'm a nay. Jacob? Nay. Thank you, folks. We're going to get to a resolution further authorizing the retention of outside counsel.
So who's gonna deal with this attorney that we're hiring?
Robert is.
No, he's not authorized to. He was only authorized to sign the letter of engagement.
Folks,
Guys, we've gotta take action on this, it's gotta be somebody, so.
Do you want to be clear? It will be clear. I make a motion to appoint Robert to be the liaison with the law firm. Every single
Folks,
appointment, working with counsel,
it is
we've done
a-
history of the town.
yeah.
History doesn't matter.
He's being sued.
And folks, please, please don't interrupt. There's a motion. Is there a second to that?
I'm gonna second his motion.
Bill's gonna second. Is there further discussion? Kenny?
Nay.
You are nay? Okay.
We didn't put it to a vote.
I didn't put it to a vote, but we can put it to a vote. You are nay? Okay. William?
I said aye.
Aye. Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina?
Nay.
Thank you. All right, we've got resolution, we've got the fifth item on the agenda, which is resolution number 39.
Strings attached.
Well, what
Is that right?
Wait.
Yes.
The motion that we did,
The motion was to
To-
direct the supervisor to work with
before
counsel.
that, I'm
Yeah.
putting numerically.
Yeah. It was just a motion, there are no
Oh,
resolution
no
numbers.
resolutions,
Yeah.
okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
These were both done by motion. We have a resolution. Oh, sorry. If I can get them back on. Are we on 39, Deanna?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook further authorizing and ratifying the retention of Hodgson Russ LLP and Keenan B. PC as outside litigation counsel for the Town of Red Hook, whereas the Town of Red Hook, New York is a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws of the State of New York with its principal.
You wanna hold up on the screen, Robert?
Yeah, I think I can.
Can you please speak up?
Teddy, sorry, yeah, I'm happy to speak up. Yeah.
Snake egg. Snake ball.
There we go. Whereas the Town of Red Hook is a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws of the State of New York with its principal office located in the County of Dutchess, State of New York, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook is the governing body of the town and pursuant to the Town Law 65(1) and 22A is vested with the authority to authorize and direct any action or special proceeding in the name of the town and to employ outside counsel in respect to any particular subject matter, proceeding, or litigation as the town board may necessarily require. Whereas the town board by motion duly made and approved at its regular meeting on February 26, 25, engaged the firm of Keenan Bean PC defend and respond to the legal challenges raised in the matter of Red Hook Boat Club versus the town board of the town of Red Hook. Index number 25, 50908, Article 78, number 1. Whereas represented by the law firm of Hodgson Russ LLP on April 28, 2025, the town board authorized the commencement of an eminent domain proceeding to acquire certain property owned by the Red Hook Boat Club, Inc., and whereas RHBC commenced a second Article 78 proceeding in Supreme Court, Dutchess County, challenging the town's adoption of 3 resolutions in furtherance of the town's proposed acquisition of the RHBC property via eminent domain, Article 78, Number 2. And whereas on August 19th, RHBC commenced a proceeding pursuant to EDPL Article 2 at the Appellate Division, 2nd Department, Docket 2025-0998, 1, challenging the town's adoption of the determination and findings to acquire the Red Hook Boat Club property by eminent domain, which Hodgson Russ LLP represented the town in its defense and furtherance of its engagement with the town. And whereas the town board by motions duly made and approved at its regular meeting on August 27th authorized the firm of Keenan Bean PC to prepare and file a notice of appeal and a motion to re-argue regarding the decision and order dated August 15th, 2025 in Article 78, Number 1. And whereas the town board by motion duly made and approved at its regular meeting on December 9th, 2025 authorized the town supervisor to work with counsel to continue to defend and respond to legal challenges raised by Red Hook Boat Club. And whereas on January 1, 2026, RHBC commenced a third Article 78 proceeding, Red Hook Boat Club versus the town of Red Hook, New York, challenging local laws B and C of 2025 adopted by the town board. Whereas pursuant to prior authorizations, the town supervisor acting in his capacity as chief executive officer of the town engaged Hodgson Russ LLP to represent the town in defense of the Article 78 proceedings under index numbers 2026-50382 and 2025-54836, which retention the town board hereby finds to be within the scope and consistent with prior authorizations. And whereas the town board has been and is fully aware of the general nature and subject matter of the legal services rendered by Hodgson Russ LLP and Keenan B. PC in connection with the RHBC legal matters, has audited and approved all invoices from each firm confirming their retention, and has previously discussed and considered the town's legal representation in executive session. And whereas the town board has determined, for absence of doubt and to minimize further legal proceedings, I think that was suggested, that it is in the best interest of the town and its taxpayers to ratify and confirm all prior appearances, filings, and legal services rendered by Hodgson Russ LLP in the Article 78 proceedings and eminent domain proceeding as authorized acts on behalf of the town. Ratify and confirm all prior appearances, filings, and legal services rendered by Keenan Bean PC in Article 78, Number 1, and in connection with the post-decision motion to re-argue and the appeal as authorized acts on behalf of the town, and authorize both firms to continue rendering legal services in connection with the respective matters described herein. Whereas the town board determines that the further authorization, ratification, and confirmation set forth in this resolution is necessary to protect the town's legal position, to ensure the orderly continuation of pending legal matters, and to confirm the authority for expenditure of town funds in connection with the legal services described herein. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Red Hook, Dutchess County as follows. Section 1, ratification and confirmation of prior services at Hodgson Russ LLP. The town board hereby ratifies, confirms, and authorizes nuns pro tung all appearances, filings, and legal services rendered by Hodgson Russ LLP on behalf of the town of Red Hook in connection with the eminent domain acquisition of the Red Hook Boat Club property, and B, the defense of the Article 78 proceedings, including index numbers 2026-50382 and 2025-54836, from the inception of those engagements through the date of this resolution. All such services are hereby deemed authorized acts on behalf of the town, and all town funds expended or obligated in connection therewith are hereby ratified as authorized expenditures. It is up on the screen, and I am following along with the screen, if that's helpful to you, if you'd like to sit over here to read it. Section 2, ratification and confirmation of prior services of Keen and Bean. The town board hereby ratifies, confirms, and authorizes, non-pro-tongue, all appearances, filings, and legal services rendered by Keen and Bean on behalf of the town board in connection with the defense of Article 78, Number 1, Index number 2025-50908, and the prosecution of the appeal from the August 14, 2025 decision, order, and judgment in Article 78, Number 1. All such services are hereby deemed authorized acts on behalf of the town board, and all town funds expended or obligated in connection therewith are hereby ratified as authorized expenditures. Section 3, prospective authorization. The town board hereby authorizes pursuant to town law, Section 865-1 and 2022A, Hodgson Russ LLP to continue to represent the town in connection with the eminent domain acquisition of the Red Hook Boat Club property, and in any appeal, motion, and further proceedings in connection with the Article 78 proceedings, including index number 2026-50382, subject to the terms of the existing retainer agreement or any such amended retainer as the supervisor and the town board may agree upon. And I think that's referencing the notice to file the notice of appeal on the local laws B and C decision from the court. Keen and Bean PC to continue to prosecute and perfect the appeal from the August 14th, 2025 decision, order, and judgment in index number 2025-50908, and to render such further legal services as the town board may authorize by separate resolution. Section 4, expenditure of town funds. The town board hereby authorizes the supervisor and/or the town's fiscal officer, which is one and the same, to pay or cause to be paid all invoices for legal services rendered by Hodgson Russ LLP and Keen and Bean PC in connection with the matters described in sections 1, 2, and 3 of this resolution, subject to the submission and review of detailed invoices in accordance with the town's ordinary bill-approved process and applicable statutory requirements. Severability, if any section, clause, or provision of this resolution shall be determined to be invalid or unconstitutional by a court of competent jurisdiction, such determination shall not affect the validity of the remaining sections, clauses, and provisions hereof, which shall remain in full force and effect. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. And that's resolution number 39. Would somebody like to move resolution number 39?
So moved.
Thank you, Jacob.
I'll second it.
Thank you, William.
I have numerous comments.
Okay.
Before we vote.
Sure.
So, Robert, do you or somebody else want to explain non-pro-tunc, what that means?
Yes. Why not? I thought we had our attorney with, so she can.
Well, I mean, I can explain it if she's not on the line. It's a retroactive ratification of a past resolution. So it's basically fixing something that was done in the past. And so in this case, this is going back to resolutions that were passed in 2025, and it got a little shaky with the engagement of Keen and Bean and Hodgson Russ and what they were authorized to do. So retroactively, this resolution is not only continuing to authorize Robert as the sole point of contact with the attorneys, but it's smoothing out all of everything that those two law firms were engaged to do. So if I was going to consider voting for this, at a minimum, I would need to see a second person in addition to Robert, and I would make a motion that I am that person.
Of course.
That would be added to as a point of contact.
Why?
Because it's a very contentious issue, and there's no reason that only one person needs to be the point of contact with the attorneys.
Why are you the best person to be the point of contact with the attorneys?
Because the other.
Please, folks, please don't interrupt.
Well, any one of the five of us elected.
Sure.
And, you know, it's been, I think, very harmful for the town to have all of this contentious, fighting over this issue. So as a point of reasonableness and transparency, as a new voice in there with fresh eyes to look at what's going on, I mean, there's nothing to say that you're not making any decisions, but in terms of bringing to light the issues that that are in this case within what you can expose publicly in a lawsuit. I think it should be somebody other than Robert or really you or Bill. I think it should be Kenny or I and Robert moving forward.
I agree.
I mean, I think we have plenty of opportunity as a whole board to have our attorney-client sessions where we all have the opportunity to work with the
Please don't
attorneys.
interrupt.
I'm not hiding anything.
Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt.
We all have the same opportunity to meet with our attorneys, right? We all have the same, when we go into attorney-client session, we all have the same opportunity to ask questions, to hear those questions answered, to discuss as a board our legal strategy.
In an attorney-client session.
Yes.
But a lot happens.
So why are we muddying things up when we leave those sessions where we designate, here's the strategy we want to take, here's what we're directing our attorneys to do, by adding a second person who's been very vocal against the action that this is related to?
Why would you not want to have a balanced opinion while we're defending the town?
Because I don't think you're trying to defend the town.
Well, I will point out
I don't trust
you
the way you
ran,
approach this.
well, I also will point out for the record
Hang on.
that you ran on a
person at a
platform,
time.
you ran on a platform to undo the eminent domain. So one could make the argument that you're conflicted out. I don't think, this is a mechanical process. We sit in attorney-client, the five of us meet with our lawyer and discuss strategy. And ultimately, it's not the town supervisor's decision. It's the board's decision in attorney-client privilege. And sometimes we don't agree.
Yeah, that's where that gets us. It's too puppets.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Hold on, Bill,
Yeah,
so,
literally, puppets.
hold on.
Please.
So there was, so in 2026, a few months ago, and you have to help me with the date, I believe it was April, we
We are not going to discuss matters that were in attorney
no, this
client
is
session.
public information. So there was a response there was a legal response that was issued. The board did not take any action,
Okay, I would
right?
like,
So
I
it
would like
matters.
to, I would
It
like
was-
to respond to your question.
Thank you.
You were not present on December 9th for the attorney-client session. You have no idea what the town board directed me as the town supervisor to do, and whether or not it included responding to any and all actions related as this resolution recounts and reaffirms. These two gentlemen were here. Did the town supervisor act in the way that you directed and fulfill the directions that you gave?
As the board as a whole,
As the board?
yes.
Okay, as the board of the five at the time. Please don't interrupt. Please don't
When
interrupt.
Kenny questioned,
Please
did you know
don't-
about that?
Please,
Oh, no, I didn't know nothing about it.
please don't interrupt.
Yeah, it's on film.
Please
It's on
don't.
film.
I'm gonna ask you,
Yeah.
please not to interrupt,
Fact.
okay? Please not to interrupt.
Fact.
Thank you. You will see all these resolutions, regardless of who is town supervisor, all these resolutions throughout the years have the town board directing the town supervisor as the day-to-day person to
But that's not.
enact, please let me finish,
That was
Chris.
voted on in December, but this is a new town board, so we can designate one person or more than one person.
I think you have made
Yes,
that motion.
Right, and
Well, I made the motion to
I
approve
think
this
you-
resolution.
we made the motion to pass this resolution, we're discussing it, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know why you're phrasing it as if this is new town board can't make a resolution. Can't.
Well, hold it. If we get 3 no votes, doesn't this end this whole authorization and litigation?
I'm sorry, if you get 3 no votes for.
If we get 3 no votes right now, doesn't this end?
On this resolution.
Yes. We need 3 no votes to stop this whole, it ends, it holds the authorization.
This
We
is
have-
about paying our lawyers.
We have a motion to approve resolution number 39, further authorizing and ratifying the retention of these firms as outside litigation for
So
the
this
town of
doesn't end
Reading.
the
We have
eminent
a,
domain
we
proceeding.
have a, no, it does not. Okay, this is for this further clarifies and ratifies and confirms. That's
It's
all
being
it does.
clear that the council we
Okay.
hired to handle these matters.
Well, then I'll
the
second
council will
what Christine said.
Okay. Well, we have, wait, I'm sorry.
There was
We
a
have a
change.
motion to approve. We
No,
have a
no,
motion
no,
to
no.
approve
I made a
this
motion
resolution.
to change the language in here to approve Robert and myself as the point of contact.
Okay, well, I'm not amending my motion to do that.
Okay,
I motion to approve this resolution as written.
okay. So we have a motion, we have a resolution, a motion to approve the resolution. We have a second. We have a proposal to amend the resolution. Any other comments? I think we all know how we feel. Right?
Of course, of course.
At this time, I'd like to have a roll call, please.
I want to make sure I know what I'm voting on.
You are voting on
This
approving
motion.
this resolution.
As written.
As written.
As written, okay.
Yep.
Trying to bury the bodies. Okay, voting on burying the bodies.
Roll call, please, Kenny.
Nay.
William?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christine? Thank you. Well, that's resolution number 39 of 2026. Okay, we have some correspondence, folks, please. We need to address, we have a couple things. We have an application for a neighborhood block party, which we've had previously on Carriage Drive. This comes from, I think, John Lawfar, right? Yeah. And they've worked with the highway department with cones and so on and so forth and signage. They don't block anybody's driveway. They make sure that people can get in and out of the block. This is for Carriage Drive, if you're familiar with that block. It does not pose a traffic issue for that particular subdivision, since it's a stub road. Do we have any issues with this? Do we want any more information? We just asked them to work with our highway superintendent on this. They've indicated the date. They didn't give a rain date, though, I noticed.
Grow some spines, fellas.
Okay.
Is there gonna be alcohol involved?
No, I don't believe there's
There's going to be
alcohol.
cannabis involved.
No, that's a separate.
That's a separate.
That's a separate one?
No, this is block party, folks. We're on the
That
block
one's
party.
attached to mine.
Yeah. Any questions?
No questions.
Is that for
I
Sunday?
do have a
August?
question.
Thank you.
I want to make sure it's the cannabis showcase permit application.
No, we're not on that.
No, I know, but it's attached to this application in my package.
Oh,
stapled together.
well, somebody stapled it wrong.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry, that
just
was
wanted-
Kathleen, yeah, I apologize. I don't check when she copies and staples.
I just want to make sure.
Sure. Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this application for a neighborhood block party. We've had no issues or complaints in the past.
I'll second.
Thank you, Christina. Any further conversation? If not, all in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Christina? Aye. Okay. So moving from one party to another, and there's the code with the block party. So we have a cannabis showcase event permit application. This is a first for us. So it raises a few questions that, for those of us who have not been to one of these events. I think it's proposed to happen at Greg Farm, right? That's the address that's listed there. 227
yeah,
Pitcher Lane, on September 4th, which is that Labor Day weekend? No, Labor Day's early. Labor Day's early this week. Jacob, you always have the calendar at your ready. for some reason. The 4th, September 4th. Oh, I know when September 4th, it's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Yeah. Okay. From noon to 8 p.m. So that's somewhat illustrative. The proposed event is a local growers. I'm not sure I know what that means. Kenny, I'm sure you've seen that the term local growers change in definition over the years, right? Being the true farmer that you are. Local growers showcasing their products with Upstate Pine selling their products. I'm not quite sure.
The word is bona fide.
Bona fide. Bona fide sounds good. Local growers, so I don't know what that means, showcasing their products with Upstate Pine selling their products. So how many growers, how many people would be, I mean, are we talking about a mass gathering permit necessary here?
Well, it is with Upstate Pine selling their products.
No, well, I'm confused by that.
It says proposed event details. Local growers showcasing their products with Upstate Pines selling their products. So
Who is there, though? The
Yeah,
local
Upstate
growers?
Pines. No, Upstate Pines is the one that would be selling products for these other producers. That's how I read it.
Well, that would be, what they're selling is gonna be regulated by OCM. So we're just approving whether this can take place or not, right?
Right. I don't know the scale, you know, is this gonna, my questions are, is it gonna trigger other things in our code? Like, is
how
this
many
a,
growers are they inviting?
is this a
How many
mass
people they
gathering thing? Are we gonna be talking about, you know, a lot of people? Are there gonna need to have any sort of traffic control? Is there gonna need to be any,
So
any local
growers,
police?
How many is that?
Well, no.
And what's local? Local to Red Hook?
Well, that's what I was saying to you earlier, is I'm sure you've seen the definition local growers over the years expand. I don't know what that means, so I think we should maybe get a little more information from them, right? And then you get an idea of how many people they think, you know, or would attend this.
You might want the police force to be outside at 8 o'clock, right, when everybody leaves?
No, I don't think that's legal.
I don't know how they determine that anyway.
So can you explain, why is this before us? What are we approving?
I think we have to approve it. It seems to be a document, this is a first.
Office of Cannabis Management requires that we sign off on this?
I believe so.
This is not, well, do you believe so or do you know so?
I believe that we have to sign off. I don't know with
Why?
100%
They have to have written
certainty.
authorization from an official of the municipality for the event before the Office of Cannabis Management can consider the application. So the town has to have a letter saying, or authorization from an official from the town saying that before the state will even consider having an event. So we need to approve it, designate somebody to sign off on it before they can move forward with their application to have the event. It's gotta be. And I think the question we
how
have
many-
is the scale of the event. How many people are going to be invited, as far as growers, what sort of audience they intend to have. I think that's what we're saying as a board before we approve that. So,
No, my way.
it's a checkbox for their application with the state.
I just don't think there's enough information here.
Go back to the applicant and ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be good to know.
They could provide us with an estimate of how many people, how many vendors, what it looks like,
Who the
will they need
local-
traffic assistance?
Who the local growers are.
Who the local growers are.
I think the number of them is all that matters. It's gonna
Well,
follow.
I'm concerned
whatever
about,
the
like,
state
wait a second, I'm concerned
requires.
about who the local growers are. I don't think that's a role that we play, whether,
Yeah.
right?
Well, state law says it has to be grown in New York State.
Oh, is that right?
That's my understanding,
Okay.
yeah. They're not allowed to bring in
Okay.
marijuana from other states.
So that's what the reference to local growers mean, and it needs to be New York State grown and qualified.
Well, what is our, so, but I guess, Jacob, my point is that if OCM is asking us to approve this, it's not, they're asking us to say whether we want this event or not. Separate from that, if we have an event, if it was lollipops and not cannabis, then what does our zoning say about events? So
we have the mass gathering process?
right,
Something like-
could we approve this based upon our zoning if it was any other product other than cannabis? Like, we're not gonna make new rules just because it's cannabis, right? We're just saying, do we?
Well, no, actually, that was part of what was in our code. And, you know, for the public, you've heard a lot about local law 1 and B and C. For the public, you've heard a lot about local law 1 and B and C, but local law 1 and B and C dealt with many other issues, and I would suggest that it's not just the boat club that was opposed to elements of local law 1 and B and C. There was code zoning updates that regarding farmland and how much development could be on farmland. You've heard me talk about farms that are at risk. It talked about cannabis. It talked about clarifying language of short-term rentals. So it covered a bunch of topics. So yeah, we do have zoning as it relates to cannabis. I don't believe that this was in the targeted zone, right? We had it in the business, the B1s and the B2s, so.
But that was for sales.
Dispensary.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't remember if that.
So this may not apply. This is like a showcase, so this is like a one-off kind of thing.
In the agricultural business district, we have zoning language that supports
Yeah.
pop-ups
Yeah.
and food trucks
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't see a problem with it being held there. It's just a question of, do we have enough information to know whether it triggers other
The point,
things?
though, is that we have laws about mass gatherings, and
Right.
there are things that we have to approve in advance for those regardless of where they're held, and that there's not enough information in this application to suggest whether or not it meets those criteria and those thresholds.
I mean, maybe that's the thing to do, right, is to go back, ask them if they can provide some more information about approximately how many growers they're going to be featuring, approximately how many people they expect. If it's something that's going to be in the range of a mass gathering, inform them of the process for applying for the permit for that.
I agree, I mean, it says proposed event details. This is pretty vague.
Not a lot of details.
So just come up with more detail, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think normally what we would do in this case is ask for like a sketch of where the tent's gonna go and the tabling. Is this an indoor event? Is this an outdoor event? How many vendors are you looking at? You know, if it's something small that fits within their barn, then I think we're looking at, you know, an easy to manage event. Otherwise, I mean, in general, I don't think we have a problem with it being there, right? Nobody wants to weigh in? Okay.
well, again, it's sales, not consumption that we're approving, so I'm supportive of it.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with the event, I would just like more information.
Yeah.
Can we give you that charge to?
You want to give me charge? Okay. Give me charge to reach out to Upstate Pines and request additional information? Sure.
And share the information about mass gatherings if it seems like that's relevant.
Okay. I included in the correspondence also the correspondence from our highway superintendent as it relates to plow trucks, and I've invited her to come. She can't come on August 11th, maybe August 29th, 26th. Sorry. And we can talk about that. At that point, my office will have started the budget for 2027. And so we can look at the funding. She's exhausted the HT account, capital, with the previously approved pickup trucks that we had earlier this year. We do have a letter. We do have a letter from the county. We received $20,000 worth of grant money for our youth sports and education opportunity funding program. And I think that's what we have for correspondence. Before we close tonight's meeting, I think I mentioned earlier that it would make sense for us at this point to allow flexibility to both cancel the July 22nd meeting and to remain available, at least at a minimum, 3 of us, towards the end of the month. I can commit to that. Should we need to have a quick meeting, as we do from time to time with CFA grant submissions, if there's a change or amendment that needs to be made. So I would go ahead and make a motion to cancel the 22nd and to, if we can, see if we can make ourselves available at least at one point for the following week, should that come up.
Sounds good to me.
Jacob, you like that motion?
Yeah.
Bill? Kenny? Okay. Christina? Okay. Okay, so.
I'll second that.
You'll second? All right. All in favor, Kenny?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Myself? Aye.
Aye.
Jacob?
Aye.
Christina? Okay. Folks, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Stay healthy. Enjoy 250. Go to the pool. People love the pool. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we close tonight's meeting. All in favor? Aye. I think that was 5-0 on closing the meeting at 10:52.